Wembley Stadium, Erling Haaland. Manchester United have Onana in goal, a back four of Wan-Bissaka, Varane, his farewell appearance, Lisandro Martinez and Diogo Dalot. Then the midfield, Amrabat and Mainu, with McTominay and Garnacho and Rashford in the wide positions, and Bruno Fernandes, the captain. And we'll see how they line up, Manchester United, once the game gets underway. Recently it's been McTominay and Fernandes playing furthest forward, so Rasmus Højlund among the substitutes for Manchester United for what is the 2024 Emirates FA Cup final here at Wembley Stadium. And what a scene we have in front of us here as listeners to the BBC World Service join us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and it is Manchester City who are going to get us underway. The light haze from the smoke of the fireworks and the flames is still just hanging in the air. The sun is not shining right now on the arch of Wembley Stadium, but it is a warm, late May afternoon, and we are ready now for what is the 143rd FA Cup final. But for the first time in a Wembley FA Cup final, the two clubs from last year are back in the final again the following year. And it is Manchester City who get us underway. Andy Madley is the referee. Big day for the referee, the cup final, as the ball is pumped forward for Rashford to chase on towards the edge of the area, but Walker got there, and Walker got a touch and plays it back to Ortega, who's dribbling the ball to the edge of his own penalty area and is able to pass it out to Bernardo Silva. I thought we were going to have another early one there, Chris.
Absolutely, it was Bruno Fernandes helped the ball on in the central area to Rashford, who had the run on Walker. Walker got back.
Oh, here's Haaland carrying the ball through the middle, gives it to Foden. Gvardiol with the cross. Oh, Haaland must have been pushed over inside the penalty area. The defender was back on him. Haaland went to ground, arms in the air, and referee Madley did not point to the spot, but the ball's out of play. The players are going to him, and they are pleading, the Manchester City players, they are pleading with him to go to the VAR, who is the highly experienced Michael Oliver, and referee Madley says no penalty, play on.
Well, I tell you what, initially my first thought was it should have been a penalty, but the ball was going over Haaland's head. Martinez does check him. He gets away with one there, Martinez. I really feel that. I don't think Haaland was getting on the end of it, but that's irrelevant.
He knew what he was doing there, Chris. Martinez on the far post just eased him under the ball. He was just about to launch to keep that ball in play, head it on target, Haaland, but Martinez, all his experience, just nudged him under the ball.
Well, we've seen it once again. We saw it live, and that is big talking point number one of this all-Manchester FA Cup final. We're in the second minute, Manchester City 0, Manchester United 0. They're also just underway at Hampden in the Scottish Cup final, the first Old Firm final for 22 years. Chris Sutton was playing in the last one, and we.
John, come on.
Well, you were.
Yeah, on the losing team, is that what you were getting at, John?
Part of a showpiece occasion, Chris. You should be proud of it. And we do have a choice of listening. So obviously the FA Cup final is where you are now, 5 Live in the World Service. Scottish Cup final, go to BBC Sounds, you'll find that on BBC Radio Scotland. The T20 at Edgbaston is on Sports Extra, and the Champions Cup final over at the Tottenham Stadium, that is online, as is the Monaco Grand Prix qualifying. So a big choice of listening. So thanks for choosing us for the FA Cup final, where it is 0-0, and I must say I'm looking forward to seeing that challenger game by Martinez on Haaland. It's certainly, with the naked eye, it looked as though it was a very good case for a penalty.
Yeah, Martinez, as Dion touched on, knew exactly what he was doing there, bundles into the back of him, and I just wonder whether the fact Haaland wasn't getting on the end of it, whether that was part of the thought process.
Well, it was very quickly dismissed by VAR, with our VAR taking a leaf out of the UEFA style of VAR-ing. Here is John Stones, only his second start in 10 matches, first start since the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea. Manchester United, remember, came through against Coventry City. Could have been a different sky blue that we were watching here today. I do feel for Coventry on a day like this, their supporters, Coventry City fans, must be thinking, it could have been us, it should have been us. Here's Ake in the centre circle. Manchester City playing from right to left in the first period. So the teams are attacking the halves where the opposing fans are. It is red, white and black to our left. It is sky blue and white to the right of the halfway line. John Stones carrying the ball forward. Back to the halfway line. Stones again. Here's Kyle Walker, who was excellent against Rashford when he was sent through. Rashford in the early seconds of the match, very much tallying with the season that he's had, Kyle Walker. And as the ball is played back by Walker to Stones, across it comes to Nathan Ake. And Ake looks up, thinks about the long pass forward. Manchester City, the holders, thinking about the potential of a double-double in successive seasons. No club has done that before, to win the league and the FA Cup in 2 consecutive seasons. Ake was put under pressure by Bruno Fernandes, but was able to recover and play the ball back to Ortega. The usual FA Cup goalkeeper, despite Edison's injury, started all of the matches last season and has started all of the matches in the competition this season as well. Here's Kovacic in a deep-lying position, passes it forward to Gvardiol, and then Rodri with a touch back to Kovacic. This is very patient stuff by Manchester City, and Manchester United have actually pressed them all the way back into their own penalty area.
Yeah, and patient from Manchester United. He talks about how would they approach this game. They've been really disciplined, narrowed up that midfield.
But here's Kyle Walker receiving the ball from a very deep-lying Kevin De Bruyne, almost in the right-back position. When Kevin De Bruyne passed that forward, United are able to snuff out that latest Manchester City attack. Rodri goes through the middle. Foden right now in a central area. Phil Foden, that's where he stays. So it's Gvardiol who's pushing up on the left-hand side. It'll be interesting to see where Foden plays in this particular formation.
He's just trying to find little pockets of space in the centre of the pitch now, but you see Amrabat really watchful of Phil Foden, locking onto him. Don't want to give him any time and space, and Mainu with Kevin De Bruyne, they're both sitting in front of the Manchester United back four, being disciplined, saying to Manchester City, well, you can have the ball, play it around the back.
And here is De Bruyne again on the right, passing the ball down into the left-back position where Diogo Dalot, who won one of the Manchester United Player of the Season awards. Dalot, a short pass in field by McTominay, but Bruno Fernandes was there, and Rafa Varane is able to lift it out left-footed to Wan-Bissaka, pushing forward from right-back. Actually carries the ball into the Manchester City half. Here's Garnacho starting on the right-hand side for Manchester United, and they go back all the way into their own half. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 0. Manchester United appearing in what is a record 22nd FA Cup final. Bruno Fernandes gives the ball to Wan-Bissaka. Here is Garnacho on the right-hand side, then back to Bruno Fernandes, and Amrabat, the shaven-headed Amrabat, selected again, having done quite well in recent matches, still on loan, and Amrabat thinks about going forward, but in the end passes it back to Varane.
Amrabat's in that midfield for his legs, his energy, gets around the park pretty well. They'll try and do nullify Manchester City's threat in the middle of the park, match them up.
So it is United still with the ball on the edge of their own penalty area and going all the way back to Anana. Last time he was here was very much involved right at the finale against Coventry City, and a long pass from him. This is for Rashford to chase. Walker's there with him, and Walker is able to get goal side and gets the ball and then keeps it in, plays it in field where Stones had to be sharp up against Bruno Fernandes, and has played the ball out via a deflection for a central.
It's amazing from Kyle Walker. Nana has the ball at the back, edge of his own box. Marcus Rashford makes a run from within his half, gets 3 yards on Kyle Walker, and yet Rashford's no slouch. Walker has that confidence that he can actually make the ground up and get back. And guess what? He does.
He does.
It's that body language. Sorry, John. It's the body language as well. Kyle Walker, he knows. You know, Rashford's gone, but Kyle Walker just uses his body and all his experience just to get the goal side where he needs to be. And Marcus now has a doubt in his mind.
Manchester United coming forward. Bruno Fernandes. Here's Garnacho, edge of the area, shoots straight at Ortega, who's able to, with a little juggle, but it was straight at his chest, and he was able to gather it in.
Yeah, decent enough first touch, just allows the ball to run across his body, takes a touch, and he goes for power. Garnacho, right-hand side of the box. Fortunate for Ortega, it was straight at him.
Straight at him from Garnacho. That's the first attempt on goal in the cup final, in the 9th minute. Still 0-0 here, still 0-0 in Glasgow as well. We'll be making regular visits there. Ailey Barber and Pat Nevin are watching the Celtic Rangers final. And here it is Manchester City with Kovacic, who plays it out to the left-hand side. De Bruyne, oh, lovely pass from De Bruyne with his left foot to set Foden away down the left. He clips it in and it's headed away by Martinez in the middle with Haaland lurking behind him. However, it's kept in play by Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva against Dalot. Bernardo Silva still left-footed ball into the back post. Foden pulls it across, but into the near side netting, the outside of the side netting on the stretch. It might actually have drifted all the way out before he shot at goal, but it is a goal kick to Manchester United.
They have such a great ability, Manchester City, to change pace. It's all been pretty slow and methodical, and then all of a sudden, blink of an eye, De Bruyne down the left-hand side, lovely ball in for Foden, who can't quite pick out Haaland, and the ball comes back across, just a little bit heavy, Silva, with the cross from the right.
That pass from Kevin De Bruyne is like watching David Gower hit a cover drive.
It was a bit quicker than that.
Well, you say that, Dion. So Dion Dublin and Chris Sutton with us in the Five Live commentary box. Chris and Dion will both be part of our Euro 2024 coverage, so you'll hear us all from all over Germany in a few weeks' time. But here in the now, here in London, 0-0. How's it started in Glasgow with you, Ailey?
It's been end-to-end, it's been entertaining. Celtic just had their first real chance at goal. Daizan Maeda getting in behind James Tavernier. That battle is one the Japanese is already winning. It's first time ball across the face of goal. Kyogo trying to get on the end of it, but under pressure from Balogun, it went wide. I think it came off the Rangers defender, but a goal kick was given. Still goalless here though, John.
And here's Kyle Walker for Manchester City on the right, who's made an excellent start to the game. Walker having lifted the Premier League trophy last Sunday afternoon after what was his 300th Manchester City appearance. A real blue ribboned day. Amrabat going back to the edge of the penalty area, and then Amrabat passing it back to Onana, takes a touch. Haaland was hoving into view, which must be a terrifying experience, and then cleared away by Onana from inside the 6-yard box. So still 0-0, Rangers Celtic. What about the Champions Cup final with you, Chris Jones?
22 ferocious physical minutes. Leinster 3 to lose 6. Leinster are on the board thanks to Ross Burns' boot, but they had a great spell of pressure for just 3 points. Will they rue that? Leinster 3 to lose 6.
So that's at the Tottenham Stadium. We're here at Wembley. Obviously Leeds Southampton here in the playoff final tomorrow. A friend of mine said to me yesterday, it's not a great weekend to go to IKEA on the North Circular. Here is Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. Bernardo Silva just cuts back and plays it back towards the halfway line, back to Kyle Walker. And in the 2020, midway through England's innings at Edgbaston, with you, Nick Shrigani.
Yeah, England recovering well, batting first after losing Phil Salt early on. Joss Butler's on 46, Will Jacks on 37. England going well, 96 for 1 after 10 overs.
And commentary on that on Sports Extra. Lovely ball in field from Gvardiol. Now Kovacic out to the left-hand side. De Bruyne suddenly popped up on the left. He beats Garnacho, he crosses, and Varane twisting Varane, gets his head to it. It's volleyed away by Martinez, who's missed so much of this season with injury. That's been a big problem for Erik ten Hag and Manchester United. Erik ten Hag and Pep Guardiola. What an absolute delight it is to see two managers on the touchline in suits and ties. What a rarity that is.
Yeah,
how lovely to see.
It's un-Pep-like, isn't it?
Very un-Pep-like. Grey suit, tie, turned out like you should be for the FA Cup final. Throw in for Manchester City on the left-hand side.
Is that a little dig at myself and Dion there?
Absolutely not. No, if you're the manager, you're not the manager. Guardiola takes the throw back to the halfway line. It's a reminder of days of yore when they used to walk out in the end to our left from the tunnel, managers side by side, and the long walk to the halfway line. Haaland is held up by Martinez and is adjudged to have fouled Martinez. So free kick to Manchester United.
His left arm out and pulled Martinez back. Little and large always enjoy that battle. Martinez, so aggressive, isn't he? You know, you mentioned earlier about Manchester United and the centre-back pairings and how many different combinations they've had. It must affect the team, but they're certainly a better team with him in it.
Onana passing the ball out, which takes a touch off Foden on the way out. He was trying to find Dalot on the far side. Yes, Ten Hag very pleased, I'm sure, to have the butcher back in the team, Martinez, as they called him when he was playing for Ajax. And of course, what a day for Erik Ten Hag today. I'm not sure how much he will actually know about his future and whatever decisions that have been made. You'll all be aware of the reports over the course of the last 24 hours that this will be his last match. But we'll see. As Manchester City win a free kick. Foden was just caught there in the central area, just Foden right to the centre circle. As you say, looking for those little pockets. I wouldn't be at all surprised if what Foden is doing today will be how England look to use him in the summer. You know, ostensibly leftish, but coming in and playing quite centrally. You're looking quizzical.
No,
as you so often do.
No, Gareth Southgate's got some very good options, hasn't he? Does he try and fit Cole Palmer in somewhere? Who plays on that left-hand side? That's for another day, though.
It is. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 0. And the sun comes out on Wembley Stadium, and the big camera on its wires hovers into sight and then disappears above the next tier, above our heads. And Kevin De Bruyne is waiting to take this free kick. Kevin De Bruyne, who set up both of the goals in last season's All-Manchester FA Cup final for Ilkay Gundogan. And De Bruyne just stands 1 foot in front of the other and waits to play this in. As I say, just Foden right to the centre circle. In it goes with the right-footed delivery, headed away out towards the left-hand side by Varane, where the ball will just roll out of play for a throw into Manchester City. Guardiola, who's come on so strong in recent weeks, trots over to the ever-changing electronic hoardings and recovers the ball. There are 15 minutes on the clock, and we've still just had the one attempt on goal, haven't we? We had the big shout for a penalty for Manchester City early on in the match. Before that, Rashford was through, but Walker dealt with that. And the attempt on goal was from Garnacho that was straight at Ortega, the Manchester City goalkeeper. Guardiola takes this throw, and it's deflected out of play by Mainu for another throw to City on the left-hand side. What a rise for Kobbie Mainu. Throwing into the penalty area, Haaland does well, stretches for it, De Bruyne. Then it's hit by Rodri with some pace. Bernardo Silva gets that under control, as he so brilliantly and seemingly so often does, but then hits Dalot with the ball into the area, and Manchester United clear.
Yeah, and you know what? I think Erik Ten Hag will be delighted with his first 15-16 minutes. Limited Manchester City to very few opportunities. The question is can they keep up this concentration, this intensity with their defending? But they can't sit in for the whole 90 minutes.
You say that. Remember them at Anfield. Manchester City on the right-hand side. Bernardo Silva playing it across the space here for Foden, but then Foden chooses to play it out for the run of Guardiola, but overhits it all the way through for a goal kick. We haven't seen too many mistakes like that from Phil Foden this season.
No, wayward pass. Good from Silva, driving in. We know he likes to drive in from that right-hand side on his left foot. Fed the ball across to Foden. Took a decent first touch, but a bit of a shank there with his right foot.
What are you thinking, Dion?
I'm thinking that United are doing today what they haven't done all season. And Chris and I mentioned it before the game. They look organised. They're in a good shape. Kobbie Mainu and Amrabat have not moved from the toes of their two centre-halves. Very sturdy, very hard to break down at this present time. But yeah, Chris is right. Concentration levels have to be very high if you're going to do this all game.
Yeah, tough as well. And it is a warm afternoon when the sun is out, as we know from earlier on in the programme, when the sun was beating down, the midday sun was beating down on us when we were on the touchline with Mark Chapman. It is 0-0. 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC, and as well, listen on the move via BBC Sounds. Manchester City coming into this cup final with a 35-match unbeaten run behind them. Just the one defeat in that time, and that was on penalties against Real Madrid in the Champions League quarter-final. Here's Rodri passing it forward to Kovacic. Now Kevin De Bruyne, just inside his own half, goes back to John Stones. And while Manchester City have been doing that and finishing the season with 9 league wins in a row, Manchester United have been creating all sorts of records and firsts going back into the 70s and the 60s, and all sorts of marks that you wouldn't want to set, and finished 31 points behind Manchester City in the Premier League table. But they're on a level playing field here as Kovacic gives it to Foden, now to the left-hand side. Best part of 20 minutes play. Rodri now, the imposing Rodri just outside the box. Back to Kovacic, who was sent off in an FA Cup final in his Chelsea days. Ake back to the left-hand side, Gvardiol. Kovacic finds some space again. Manchester United have retreated into their defensive third. Kovacic, he's another one who's come on strong in the latter part of the season and therefore has been given more regular starts. Kovacic, and Foden drops deep, again quite centrally. Now John Stones steps forward, he's halfway inside the Manchester United half, and then a touch back to the England defender who will go back towards the halfway line. And Manchester City, we know how patient they are, and then suddenly they can strike. Ball with Nathan Ake just to the left of the centre circle. Now here's Kevin De Bruyne. And then Gvardiol actually takes his eye off it and cheers from the Manchester United fans as it rolls out of play for a throw-in to United halfway inside their own half. So back to the T20 and to Edgbaston and Nikesh Rugani.
Where England have lost another wicket. Will Jacks dismissed by Harris Rav, caught at backward point. Jos Buttler is still there though on 46, and England now 97 for 2 in the 12th over.
And in the Scottish Cup final, both 3 o'clock kickoffs. It is like it is here at Wembley, 0-0. Walker heading the ball forward, but Martinez is able to take that down and pass it forward towards Kobbie Mainoo, named in the England squad this week for the Euros. Mainoo as well holds up a couple of challenges. Then Bruno Fernandes, ball over the top for Rashford, who tried to get it under control. Walker gives it away, and then McTominay with the shot. That was blocked inside the penalty area by John Stones, who just stepped in at the right moment. I thought Walker was going to block his copybook there, but Stones to the rescue.
Do you know what? It's a brilliant ball from Bruno Fernandes outside of the right boot over the back line, and Walker once again got there, but a really careless pass on the inside. McTominay.
Oh my goodness, Ortega! A short pass out, City somehow deal with it. And Kovacic, who was the man who had Bruno Fernandes all over him, somehow that ball didn't fall to a Manchester United shirt. There were 3 of them in the area. City got it away, and then Dalot in with a challenge on Haaland, who goes down just inside the United half, and that is given as a free kick to Manchester City, which is being disputed by Dalot, who's actually got the ball in his hands and is lifting the ball up and pointing it towards the assistant, the referee's assistant on the far side, making the point that he got to the ball. Nick Hopton's the assistant over there, and the referee has just come back to see how Kyle Walker is. Let's go down to the touchline. Mas Faruqi.
Yeah, the City fans behind me really unhappy. The play wasn't stopped when Kyle Walker went down. Up now chatting with Stefan Ortega. Real confusion in the box. That great chance for Manchester United. City making it very, very difficult for themselves at the back, and some early nerves perhaps.
Chris Sutton.
Yeah, I mean, we can criticise City for playing out from the back, but that's what they do. That's why they're such a great success. They got away with one. They're slightly careless with regards to the foul. I actually thought Dalot did get the ball on Haaland.
Dion?
Yeah, I would agree, having looked at it on our screens in front of us. I mean, it's great to watch this. City trying to play the right way, and Man United finding a way to put City under pressure, just with a bit of energy. They're actually playing a game that I didn't think they were going to play, and it's good to see. Very positive from United.
Manchester City 0, Manchester United 0. So let's see what the latest is at Hampden with Ailey Barber.
Still goalless here, John, although Rangers have had the first shot on target in this game. It came from Fabio Silva, but it was an easy one for Joe Hart. Both teams enjoying spells of possession. Celtic, although are looking the more dangerous in the final third. Rangers trying to press them high, trying to win the ball back in dangerous areas. It's very much 50-50 this one, John, and still goalless.
And from 50-50 to halfway through the first half in the Cup final, Manchester City 0, Manchester United 0. And here to half-time, Ian Dennis.
Thank you, John. You're a better man than I am. I'd have waited for Mark Chapman to come back from the loo and then said that Manchester United are leading by a goal to 0. Here is Garnacho as he enters the penalty area after he missed the rapid-fire start last season with the quickest ever goal with Ilkay Gundogan after 13 seconds. But to credit Manchester United this time, with the exception of Phil Foden hitting the side netting for a ball that may well have been out of play anyway, they haven't allowed Manchester City to test Onana yet.
No, absolutely, they have been super disciplined. Manchester United have been, and they had the shot from Garnacho. They've offered a little bit of a threat, but that's the only way I think that they can win this game, by being disciplined but making the most of those counter-attacks, those moments. But it's about how they defend when they're out of possession.
Well, Manchester City in their sky blue shirts and white shorts in the sunshine, playing from right to left. A forward now on this near side the left with Guardiola. Wan-Bissaka has gone with him, plays the ball back down the touchline to Kovacic. Infield now to Rodri, cushions the ball right-footed, passes the ball curling slightly out towards Bernardo Silva. In the shadows of the stand over on the far side as they attack the end populated by the Manchester United fans at the east end of the ground. Predominantly red is the colour as Manchester City with every outfield player in the United half. Stones once again out towards Silva. De Bruyne wanders across towards him. Manchester United have every red shirt back behind the ball as the two managers in their suits watch on in their technical areas. Back out to Guardiola once again this near side. Level with the penalty area. Infield to Ake. Three changes, remember, that City made. Rodri now to Kovacic. Little touch there by Foden. Playing in front of Manchester United by and large at this point, having to be patient. Still 0-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service and BBC Sounds. Incidentally, if you want commentary of the Old Firm Scottish Cup final, BBC Sounds, you can get it via Radio Scotland and their coverage from Hampden. As Bernardo Silva right-hand side, Foden slips the ball in. This is Kovacic, tries with a cutback, could fall to Guardiola, who's been in really good goal-scoring form of late, and then it's just nicked away from him by Mainu.
I think that's good play, you know, from United. I mean, City very, very patient, but United just going back into like a 4-2-4, and City trying to get through them, can't quite get through them at the moment, but this possession will pay off at some stage if City keep getting themselves into this position.
Certainly the momentum is building, and that roar and the chant of "Come on City" came from the end away towards our right-hand side, where the sky blue City supporters are housed. They are dominating this game. They have the ball, and Manchester United are just having to play without it. Just try and be disciplined, try and be organised, trying to contain this all-conquering City side, Chris.
Yeah, but City, that's what they do. They just wear teams down. They believe they have that change of pace as we saw then. Decent run from Kovacic. I just wondered whether Guardiola at the far post could have attacked that a little bit earlier, been more proactive.
The thing is, they failed to score just once in their last 35 games. They do find a way. And Dion, what's that percentage? 70%?
Yeah, City dominating the ball. It's really hard work. Chris mentioned it before the game, concentration levels when you're having to sit behind the ball. Every single thing you've been doing on the training ground has to be absolutely spot on.
Here is De Bruyne. Forward ball, finds Foden on the turn, back towards De Bruyne. Central area just outside the D. He waits with his back to goal. Kovacic now takes over, passes the ball out. Ball played forward, looking towards Haaland, headed out by Varane. City try and win the ball back, and then it's cleared by Fernandes, who hits it blindly out towards that far side, the left, looking for Rashford. But in a foot chase, he's always going to struggle up against Kyle Walker. And a combination of Ortega all in green and Walker over on that far side, the City right, quickly re-established control for Manchester City.
Yeah, such a hopeful ball, isn't it? Fernandes playing a percentage ball. I've got to say, initially, he did really well tracking Foden. He'd run off the back of him and got to the edge of the Manchester United box when he got the ball. That was very hopeful.
The bookies had Manchester United, who are competing in a record 22nd FA Cup final at around 13-2, 7-1 shot for this FA Cup final. Manchester United looking to try and win it for a 13th time. So that gives you an indication of how much they are ranked as the outsiders, as we'll check in on the Rugby Union with Chris Jones.
Leinster 3, Toulouse 9, 3 minutes to go of the half, and Blair Kinghorn having a great game. Kinghorn takes his third penalty for Toulouse. Leinster have had their chances. Toulouse have scrambled miraculously. They look dangerous going forward to the French. Leinster 3, Toulouse 9, almost at half-time.
And commentary of that Champions Cup final continues on the BBC Sport website. Here we are, though, at BBC Radio 5 Live at a sun-soaked Wembley Stadium in the 143rd FA Cup final, and it is still 0-0 as Guardiola, just a heavy touch, and Wan-Bissaka plays it away off the shins of the Croatian, and it goes out for a goal kick that Onana, all in yellow away towards our left, is in no real hurry to take.
Is it actually decent crossfield ball from Walker, fullback to fullback. Guardiola, what an immense season he's had, just takes a really heavy touch. And Manchester, I mean, I'm not going to accuse Manchester United of time wasting just yet, but they're taking the time, aren't they?
They're time wasting. And already the City players were looking to the referee, Andy Madley, and saying to him, come on, give them the hurry up.
Are they playing for penalties, Dion, already?
Not yet, pal. Wait for 70 minutes.
Ball hit over the top by Dalot, looking for Garnacho. Oh, and the header back by Guardiola, presents it to Garnacho! It's a gift for Garnacho, and he takes it! And Manchester United, 15 minutes before half-time, take the lead! A defensive mix-up, and Manchester United completely against the run of play. Take the lead, Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1.
Well, what is Guardiola doing? We're just praising him for having an exceptional season. I think it's a misunderstanding between Guardiola and the goalkeeper, Ortega. Guardiola heads the ball over Ortega. It's a ball in behind. He's running back towards his goal. Communication must have been an issue, not on the same wavelength. Guardiola heads the ball over Ortega. Garnacho, simple opportunity to just pop the ball into an empty net. I think there's a question, maybe, whether there's an offside initially. I don't think it is an offside with the initial ball. I think the ball bounces, actually. Guardiola gets back and just pops it over Ortega. Garnacho can't miss. And the underdogs, Dion, have the lead.
Yeah, and the thing about this one as well, when the ball goes over the top and the ball's behind the defender, all the information has to come from the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper has to take control of that situation. Big shout, tell your defender what you want him to do. Otherwise, come and clean everything out, the ball, your own man, the lot. No communication, tapping for Garnacho from 8 yards.
And the fact that the game is back already underway will tell you that it was a minimal check from VAR. And the red, white and black flags are flying in unison away towards our left-hand side, because Manchester United are leading by a goal to nil as Manchester City look for an instant riposte. Ball aimed to be threaded through to Haaland, cleared by Varane. And Guardiola, who has been in terrific form of late with the error, and Ortega off his line, and Garnacho simply could not miss. It was John Stones who was the player who was playing him onside. And now Manchester United have got something to protect.
They have, and their tails are up there. Just Fernandes there, heavy with the pass in the left-hand channel. John Stones getting drawn out wide and giving away the throw-in. I mean, this is perfect for Manchester United, isn't it? Been disciplined, gotten themselves in front.
Here is Wan-Bissaka midway through the Manchester City half. Plays it to the goal scorer, Garnacho, for Manchester United, his 10th goal of the season. We've actually gone 9 games without a goal since that 4-4 game at Chelsea, as another ball is over the top. Dalot is the one giving chase through the middle, collected by Ortega. Dion.
Yeah, brilliant from United with the way that they've set up in regards to the patient levels and the concentration, but City won't panic. They won't panic. They'll get the ball under control. They'll start again. They'll dominate the ball, and they'll create chances all the way through this game, expecting themselves to get back in it. No panic as yet from them.
Guardiola, the bearded Croatian, in field to his fellow countryman Kovacic, being tracked by Bruno Fernandes. John Stones now takes over inside the centre circle. Kyle Walker, the City captain, out to Silva, far side the right. Manchester City, remember, playing from right to left. But the champions of England are trailing by a goal to nil. De Bruyne thought he'd been fouled from behind by Martinez, up towards Rashford. Plays it back, Dalot the left back. Rashford in field, Mainu takes it forward for Manchester United, loses the ball though, prodded in field. Fernandes tries to win it back, succeeds. Wan-Bissaka in the centre circle, out to Garnacho, near side the right. McTominay waits, Stones with a header away, only as far as Mainu, and a good challenge that came in from Rodri to dispossess Mainu. Now Silva midway through his own half. He hoists it high and away downfield, and Varane will bring the ball under control for United.
I'll tell you what, good little spell this for Manchester United. Kept the ball well. Mainu excellent inside his own half, driving forward with the ball, brave on the ball. Ball eventually coming out to the right-hand side, crossed in, and Stones and Rodri dealt with it just enough. But Manchester City giving the ball straight back to United.
Looks like that goal, Dion, has given Manchester United a little bit of lift in terms of confidence.
Yeah, I would agree with that, most definitely, because at present, at the moment, if you can imagine both left sides in the attacking areas, he's kind of been squashed because Gvardiol doesn't want to go past Wan-Bissaka because he knows he can't get past him, and Marcus is not trying to go past Kyle Walker anymore, so you've got the two left-hand sides of the pitch and not being used to attack. They're trying to go through the middle or down the right-hand side.
Dion Dublin and Chris Sutton with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live as Walker slides the ball forward. De Bruyne won't get there. Martinez slides in. What's the latest at Hampden? Ailey Barber.
Still goalless here, Ian, and Celtic beginning to dominate possession. They did have a little scare when Todd Cantwell picked out Cyril Dessers, but his shot was blocked by Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Rangers working very hard. You feel like Celtic, though, they potentially still have another gear. It is still Rangers 0, Celtic 0.
Commentary via BBC Sounds on Radio Scotland for that. We'll keep you regularly updated though with Ailey and Pat Nevin at Hampden. 0-0 there. 1-0 to Manchester United here as Ake for Manchester City. Rodri 6 yards forward of the centre circle. Out to Bernardo Silva. Dalot stands in front of him. Passes the ball towards Walker. Walker short and square. Rodri midway through the Manchester United half. Floats the ball out to Gvardiol. Passes the ball back in field to Ake. Pep Guardiola watches on with his hands on hips as Kovacic, one of the three changes that he made, comes forward now. Pass it to Haaland with his back to goal. Cleared by Martinez. What's happening in the cricket? Nikesh Ragani.
England have lost another wicket. Johnny Bairstow out for 21, hooking Shane Sharafidi to deep square leg, but not before England have done some damage. Joss Butler's going nicely on 69. England 144 for 3 after 15.
Commentary of that on Sports Extra. Half-time now in the rugby. Chris Jones.
A shuddering half of test match intensity, Ian. Toulouse edging it. Leinster 6, Toulouse 9. Toulouse seriously physical. They've bossed the breakdown, but Leinster have come very close, very often, not quite accurate enough. 40 captivating minutes to come. Leinster 6, Toulouse 9.
We've got 9 minutes to go to the break, where Manchester United are leading by 1-0 here in the FA Cup final at Wembley. 5 Live, the World Service and BBC Sounds. Silva coming forward now, 25 yards out, shoots left-footed, bounces just in front of Onana, gathers it in comfortably.
I think that's his first save, isn't it, Onana?
It is.
36 minutes on the clock, and that was speculative. 25 yards out, Silva. It did open up, left-footed drive, but bounced in front of Onana, but very, very comfortable. Got to say, Manchester United's game plan has worked to perfection so far, and now they've got the goal to hang on to. How many times City have been behind this season, but
ball over the top, flag stays down. Garnacho runs forward, Rashford is in support, he tries to find Rashford. Rashford buries the ball in, and now the flag is raised, and this should be ruled offside. It will be checked, but he did look offside when that ball was played over the top. It'll be checked as a matter of course.
Yeah, there's a high line from Manchester City. Garnacho makes the run and actually picks out, on the right-hand side, picks out Rashford brilliantly, who pops the ball into an empty net from 6 yards. Yeah, I think he's comfortably offside. He's a yard offside, Garnacho.
Quite clear, Dion.
It is, yeah. I did think he was at first thought, but referee, his assistant, have got that absolutely spot on. What I've been impressed with United is there's a little bit of aggression with the way they're working, the way they're squeezing, the way they're dropping off their organisation. If there's any contact between a red shirt and a blue shirt, Man United at present are being really, really aggressive. Really testing City now. What have you got? Can you come back?
That first shot on target after 36 minutes for Manchester City is an improvement. They failed to register a shot in the first half here in the Community Shield back in August, or indeed in the FA Cup semi-final, as Rodri into the penalty area, cuts it back. De Bruyne had a little touch, Manchester United get it away. Fernandes able to turn just outside the D of his own penalty area. Forward ball, Mainu Passes the ball out towards Rashford, far side the left. Still 6 yards short of the halfway line. Spreads play out to this near side the right. United red shirts, black shorts playing from left to right. Garnacho right corner of the area. Bruno Fernandes helps it to Mainu! Brilliant finish by Mainu! Right-footed, bottom right-hand corner, and now Manchester United have a cushion. That was a super goal, and Manchester United lead City by 2 goals to 0.
I tell you what a brilliant goal this is from Manchester United. Superbly worked. The pass from Bruno Fernandes when the ball's fed to him on the edge of the box. It's so good, I can't tell you. Such great disguise, but the weight of the pass just allows Mainu to run onto it right-footed from 8 yards, who passes the ball again into the corner past Ortega. But it's devastating from Manchester United. Who could have seen this coming?
It's unbelievable football. Absolutely outstanding football. The crossfield ball from Marcus Rashford from one side to the other. I think it's to Garnacho. Garnacho drives in. Wan-Bissaka makes an amazing run. Beyond Garnacho, Bruno is 18 yards out, centre of the goal. I think he's going to shoot. As Chris says, the weight of the pass just over his left shoulder to Kobbie Mainu is outstanding. Right onto his right foot, sticks it in the corner. One of the best goals you'll see at Wembley, that.
The teenager took it so well.
Oh, he did, but do you know what? He was pivotal in that move, getting the team up the pitch. Brave on the ball, out to Rashford. Dion rightly says the crossfield ball from Rashford is sensational. And then Garnacho gets his head up, disguise from Bruno into Mainu, just followed his run on. And it's a very composed finish. He should score from there, didn't panic. United 2 up.
5 minutes to go to the break. Manchester United now leading by 2 goals to 0. As here is Rodri. Remember, no side has done the double-double. That's what Manchester City were looking to try and achieve here today. And they're going to have to try and find a double of goals to even just get back on level terms. As De Bruyne across the face of goal was aimed towards Haaland. It was always going away from Haaland and out for a goal kick. United 2, City 0.
Yeah, and it's a clever run from De Bruyne in that right-hand channel. Bernardo Silva on the touchline, inside on his left foot, feeds the ball into De Bruyne, but just not quite on the same wavelength as the cross comes in from that right-hand side. He's normally bang on the money here, is De Bruyne. I don't think Haaland makes a definitive enough move in the middle, and the ball goes through for a goal kick.
Might be wasting time now, I think, Chris.
The Manchester United supporters, I don't think anybody really does enjoy Derby Day, but they must have really come to Wembley today as they made their way up Wembley Way with a real sense of trepidation. But now they're starting to dream as Fernandes on the edge of the area shoots. That was blocked by Stones, nearly knocked him off his feet as he crouched down low. Rebounds out of play for a throw.
You can have all the tactics in the world. I think it's Pep suit, which is the difference.
Or dare I say it, the change of hotel.
Oh.
Which I was ridiculed earlier on.
Go on.
Well, they've always stayed across the way. And he's won all 6 domestic finals here at Wembley. But they had a change of plan. They stayed out near Watford last night.
And a Premier Inn?
If it's good enough for Lenny Henry, I'm sure it's good enough for Pep. Anyway, City have got work to do. But a change of attire, a change of destination, change of plans. Who knows? If you're a superstition or a superstitious person. 1990, of course, Manchester United had their worst league season this season since then. The year, incidentally, that they won the FA Cup again. That was another theory that was rejected by Mr. Chapman as Silva over on that far side. You watch this, he'll come back and win 3-2. But they've got work to do as we approach half-time, because Manchester United are leading by 2 goals to 0. The last time that City had beaten United in the same campaign in 3 games in a row was under Joe Mercer, 1969-70. And United looking to try and put a spanner in the works. After all that speculation for Erik ten Hag, his team are leading as De Bruyne wins the ball on the right-hand side but runs into Darlow and it's dispossessed. Rashford now leaves it for McTominay. The system, though, is working for Manchester United, Dion Dublin.
It is, yeah, and they're playing it very, very well. They are being very disciplined. I'm liking the Amrabat and the Kobbie Mainoo situation. When Man United are out of possession, those two are not moving from their defenders' toes, but when they go and attack, Amrabat's allowing Kobbie Mainoo to do what you need to do, and he's just staying there, keeping that stability.
We're going to have 2 minutes of added on time, incidentally.
Just saying, John Murray made a very good point once again, that Manchester United had a big lead in the semi-final, didn't they, against Coventry? So this isn't done, Ian.
No, it's not. No, there were 3 goals to the good, of course, against then the Sky Blues of Coventry City, who, of course, were harshly denied that dramatic winner in what was an epic semi-final. Now we're going to have an epic final here for the Sky Blues of Manchester City to try and come back, but Manchester United certainly won't be getting carried away as we edge our way towards the break here at Wembley. But they've only had 1 shot on target as Mainoo slides in and catches De Bruyne, and Andy Madley, the referee, is going to give a free kick, and I think he's also going to show a yellow card to the England international. Indeed he is.
Yeah, I've got to say, he's had a brilliant first half as Mainoo, but it's a tackle he doesn't need to make. Kevin De Bruyne with his back to goal, 35 yards out, Mainoo behind him. Just let Kevin De Bruyne have the ball in that situation, but he goes to ground, Dion. It's a pretty reckless tackle. He doesn't need to go to ground.
Agreed. He's reaching, isn't he? He's reaching to try and get there. Just keep, Kevin De Bruyne's going nowhere. He's not going near Kobbie Mainoo's goal. Shepherd him away from it. Now he's put his team under a little bit of pressure.
So this free kick for Manchester City, it's close to 30 yards out from goal. Manchester United, in their red shirts, have got a line on the edge of their penalty area. Bernardo Silva is currently unmarked left corner of the box. If De Bruyne wants to try and play a quick reverse pass to the Portuguese international, his right arm is aloft. He scoops it forward and it's long, and 1 bounce and it's into the arms of Andre Onana.
I tell you what, they have been miles off at Manchester City. That free kick from De Bruyne, normally he's so accurate, and he just floats it in. 35 yards out, right-footed in-swinger, and Onana gathers easily. Not a Manchester City player in sight.
Incidentally, if it was to stay like this, as the ball played forward by De Bruyne, there was Wan-Bissaka to hook it away, it would mean that Newcastle United would miss out on European football, because they would go into the Europa League with Tottenham, and Chelsea would drop into the Europa Conference League. So there would be ramifications for Eddie Howe's side if United were to lift the FA Cup here today. Kovacic in stoppage time here at Wembley Stadium, his side trailing by 2 goals to 0. Gvardiol on this left side, they've doubled up on him. De Bruyne helps it back towards Foden. Fernandes slides in. Manchester United, as Fernandes whips up the United crowd, working tirelessly to keep City at bay, and there indeed is the half-time whistle, and Manchester United are leading by 2 goals to 0. The first came after half an hour. Gvardiol's header over the head of Ortega, a gift for Garnacho, gratefully received, and then Mainoo with a first-time shot 9 minutes later. So here at Wembley Stadium, it is Manchester United 2, Manchester City 0.
And I think just before we look back at that first half, Chris, Sutton, you could already see what City are going to do for the second half. Akanji will come on and Doku will come on, because the 2 of them are staying out there to warm up whilst everybody else goes into the changing rooms.
Yeah, and I've got to say, Manchester City, by their standards, they have been miles off it. But I think we have to give such credit to Manchester United for the discipline, the concentration. Okay, they were Gvardiol's mistake for the first goal, pivotal moment in this game. I've got to say the second goal, though, was one of the best goals I've seen this season. The way they worked it, the crossfield ball from Rashford, Garnacho with a pass he shouldn't miss, but Fernandes, how clever was he? A team player, team goal this, because he could have had a strike himself from that range, unselfish. The disguise on the pass was so good, and Mainu had made that run forward, followed his pass, which he played initially from inside his own half, and then finished with aplomb. I didn't see this coming. I don't think anybody did, but Manchester United have been near perfect in the first half.
That second goal, as Chris has perfectly described it, was some goal, Dion, and he's a 19-year-old kid from Greater Manchester, and he's just scored in a cup final for his team.
Bearing in mind as well where he came from, he would have come from, well inside his own half in order to get past his captain into a goal-scoring position when his captain was in front of him.
And to I don't think anybody was expecting the ball to go to him.
No, absolutely not, because Bruno Fernandes was only, 17 yards out centre of the goal, and I'm thinking he's just sliding into the corner, but he doesn't even shoot. Chris has described it anyway. However, I believe City are a bit shocked. I think City are a little bit shocked by Man United's aggression and their organisation. They're not quite sure how to play this Manchester United side.
The work rate, in amongst everything else you praise about United, the work rate of Fernandes, McTominay, Rashford, who's been criticised a lot this season.
Amrabat there's very organised, and Cobby's been brilliant. A lot of good players, a lot of good performances in red shirts today, very good.
The biggest thing is how many saves has Onana had to make. I thought coming into today's game, Onana's going to have a brilliant game. And he may have to in the second half. He may have to make some big saves. But they have limited Manchester City to very, very few, if any, clear-cut chances. But I've got to say, Manchester City, De Bruyne looks slightly off, Foden looks slightly off, Silva looks slightly off, hence why the changes look like they're going to come.
But there's a long way to go.
There is. Oh, you can't write Manchester City off. They have a history in recent times, especially of scoring late goals. There will still be that belief, but it's all about the next goal. And if you're Manchester United, you're in that dressing room at half-time, and they've got more than something to hold on. But they know that they can hurt Manchester City when they do attack with Garnacho and Rashford.
There are two things, aren't there, from a United point of view in the second half. One, can they keep up the same amount of discipline and concentration at the back? And secondly, can they keep that energy up for the full 90, really? Yeah,
and it's just it is very hard to do when you've been set up in a certain way to break and get goals on the counter attack. However, United have done it absolutely spot on. They've done it to the letter. The manager's not waving his arms about at all. Ten Hag's happy. What I am seeing from the Man United players, though, there's a lot of pointing. We spoke about Bruno Fernandes pointing and rolling about on the floor. None of that. Every single red shirt's trying to organise and pull their teammate into the right position. They've got it spot on at the moment. Chris is right again, because City ain't going to go away. Pep's going to go crazy at half-time. Different second half completely.
They did go out for that early warm-up, though, didn't they, Manchester United? Maybe that will take its toll in the second half.
Or City went out for a late warm-up.
Exactly.
Depending on how you want to spin that.
It actually looks that way, doesn't it?
Kobbie Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho, the first FA Cup final, two different teenage goal scorers. That's the first thing. The last Argentine to score in an FA Cup final. Who'd like a guess?
John Murray is looking blanky, and here we go.
Ricky Villa, yes.
Did someone tell you that?
It's called knowledge, Chris. Back in 1981, Manchester United 2-0 up in the FA Cup final. Second half on the way. Let's go down pitch side. Maz.
Yeah, it's like an energy vacuum down this part of the stadium in front of the City fans with their heads in their hands, their heads being shaken, arms folded, shakes of frustration as well, and silence. Proper silence. Part of the stadium, particularly when that second goal for Manchester United went in, because they spent so much of the half peering off over into the distance to the far side of the pitch from here when their team had so much possession in and around. But the two moments that count have happened right in front of them, and they definitely weren't expecting this.
Thank you, Maz. Let's go to Hampden. Half-time there in the Scottish Cup final. Ailey Barber.
A lot less drama here at Hampden than there's been at Wembley. Still goalless between Celtic and Rangers, and very few real attempts on goal to talk about. Dessers had a shot blocked by Cameron Carter-Vickers for Rangers, while Kyogo had a sort of half chance that was easy for Butland. Pat Nevin alongside me. It's been an interesting one. Celtic have dominated possession, but neither team really been able to work the goalkeepers.
No, they haven't been so far, but both coaches understand each other, they play each other a lot, so it's been difficult to get space in that. Cantwell and Sterling have worked brilliantly. I think they've been really, really good for Rangers. Right at the start, Maeda against Tavernier, we thought, well, that's going to be an absolute certainty that Tavernier's going to get done. Time in a game, Maeda got away from him, but as the game has gone on, that's stopped happening now, and Rangers have slowly but surely become more and more involved in this game, but can they keep that work rate up? That's the big question. It's hard, it's a big picture there, it's quite a warm, muggy day here, but what was interesting at the end of the half there, we were listening to it, you could hear the Rangers fans singing, you couldn't actually hear the Celtic fans singing, so that control that Celtic had, it's gone away again. So Brendan Rodgers, I think he's got a decent amount of work to do down there to get his good players on the ball and in good areas, and at the moment O'Reilly, very little of the ball going forward, and even Maeda, as the game's going on, he's got less and less. And finally Furuhashi, it's as if he's not playing. They need to get some good ball in the line last third Celtic if they're going to win this.
Yeah, like you say, Rangers have been working incredibly hard. They're trying to press Celtic very high. Celtic playing out from the back. They've been able to get through that press at times, but they haven't done a huge amount with it when they've got through the press.
Well, they did it early on, but Rangers have been well organised this time, and they've not done anything incredibly different. It's just maybe the biggest thing they've done different this time is Cantwell has gone back and he's killed the space that McGregor's gone into, which has stopped Celtic controlling it. Do you know that underlines to us? We're talking about tactics here. Do you know why? There's been so few chances.
There has indeed. And listen, Joe Hart's had a couple of moments, a couple of punches to deny Rangers in his last match at senior level, and he is at 37 years and 36 days the oldest player to play in an Old Firm match this century, beating the record by, does anybody know? Mr. Dion Dublin back in 2006.
Thank you very much, Ailey and Pat. Hampden commentary of the second half on BBC Sounds. You can watch it on BBC Television. If you want the Monaco Grand Prix qualifying at the moment, that's on the BBC Sport website as they go into the last 2 or 3 minutes of that. 3 minutes to 4, Jill McKenzie has the news.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
The first weekend of election campaigning has seen both the main parties focus on the economy. The Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, says a re-elected Conservative government would cut taxes for working people, while Labour have stressed the need for more stability. A 17-year-old boy has been arrested on suspicion of murder after a woman was stabbed to death on a beach in Bournemouth last night. The 34-year-old died at Durley Chine Beach. Another woman's in hospital with serious injuries. Ukraine says Russian missiles have hit a busy superstore in Kharkiv, killing at least 2 people and injuring others. Overnight, Ukrainian officials said Russia hit a school and other buildings in the city. And the number of migrants crossing the Channel in small boats this year has reached more than 10,000. Home Office figures show almost 300 people arrived yesterday in 5 boats.
If we don't win the Euros, it's got to go. It's almost like they've been told to go out and play with that handbrake.
They've really come on leaps and bounds.
Maybe this side can go one better. I wouldn't play him at left back. He was more of an 8 in attack. We knew what level we're at.
Die Zeit des Redens ist vorbei.
The time for talking is over.
James into the area, 1-on-1!
Euro 2024 Deutschland. Coming soon on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman
on 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Second half on the way here at Wembley, where Manchester United lead Manchester City by 2-0. It's goalless at Hampden at half-time between Celtic and Rangers. And in the Champions Cup final, Chris Jones?
7 minutes into the second half, it's brutal, it's intense, it's physical, just like the first half. Leinster 6, Toulouse 9, but here's Ross Burns to level the scores, bang in front, he slams it over into a pocket of Leinster fans. We're all square in the Champions Cup final. Leinster 9, Toulouse 9, 7 minutes into the second half.
BBC Sport website and app if you want to listen to that on Sports Extra this afternoon. England-Pakistan in the second T20 International at Edgbaston. Nikesh Raghani.
Yeah, we're England after a very bright start where they were 144 for 2 at one stage in the 15th over before the wicket of Johnny Bairstow, just slightly faltering here, having lost a few wickets towards the middle of the innings. Imad Wasim from Pakistan, very impressive with his left arm spin, 4 overs, 2 for 19, couple of wickets for Haris Rauf and 3 for Shaheen Shah Afridi, has meant that with 3 balls left in their innings, they're 176 for 7. England's top scorer, captain Jos Buttler, with a very entertaining 84 from 51, 3 sixes and 8 fours, as we see another 6 hit down the ground from Jofra Archer, who's back in the side here and entertaining with the bat before we see him in action with the ball a little bit later on. That'll help England into the 180s now. I've got former England T20 World Cup winner Ravi Bopara alongside me, and Ravi, I mean, they would have hoped at one stage of making close to 200, maybe beyond, but still runs on the board here for England on what does look like a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, it's a decent surface. I don't think it is a 200 surface, if I'm being honest. The Pakistan bowlers have actually come back really, really well. What they have done, and been going on and on about it, is using the surface. Using the surface in England is very, very important. It's a combination of Yorkers, slower bouncers, slower balls into length, quicker bouncers, which work in these conditions. May not work in Asia. You want to try getting underneath the bat in Asia because of the flatter bounce you get there. But here in England, you've got to use the surface, and they have done in the last 5 overs.
Right, so England 183 for 7, 1 ball remaining in the innings.
Thank you very much, Nikesh. As I say, Sports Extra if you want to listen to that. Sun shining in one half of Wembley at the moment. The left half of the stadium, which Manchester City will be defending, and Manchester United attacking, bathed in sunshine at the moment. The other half, which has got the Manchester City fans in as well, that is in shadow. Be a very interesting first 10 or 15 minutes, Chris Sutton, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. First things first, it'll be interesting to see whether Pep Guardiola makes changes, but expect Manchester City to come out and certainly play with a higher tempo. It's all been a bit laborious. It's like the Manchester City players have been hungover. They had heavy celebrations last week, but this is a big deal, this game, the opportunity to do a double-double for them. And look, Manchester United know what's going to happen at the start of the second half, and I'm sure the message will be just more of the same. Be disciplined as you were in the first half, and it's there for them. They can smell it.
If City do bring on Doku, which just from looking at how they were warming up, I mean, Akanji is already... Yeah, Akanji and Doku are stripped ready to come on. It will make City more direct with Doku, won't it? How does that change how United defend?
Well, in that wide area, I mean, City's wide left area, I mean, Wan-Bissaka will now have his work cut out. The ball will go out to Doku. He is a fabulous dribbler. He'll come inside. He likes to come inside on his right foot. He can go both ways, but this will be a different Manchester City team in the way that they will set up. The ball will just continuously go out to the left, and Pep Guardiola will be saying to Doku, just create something for us. And boy, is he capable.
45 minutes then for Manchester City to rescue their double-double. 45 minutes for Manchester United to deny them. John Murray.
2-0 Manchester United, about to kick off the second half. 2 goals from the 19-year-olds, Garnacho and Menu, and 2 changes for Manchester City at the start of the second half, with Ake and Kovacic substituted and Akanji and Doku coming on. So off we go in the second half, which has the potential, Chris Sutton, to be a blockbuster.
Oh, it absolutely does. I don't think anybody saw Manchester United going into half-time at 2 up. It's something to hold on to. Can they be as well structured and disciplined in this second half? We know they have have players who can hurt Manchester City on the break, but a subtle difference in the way that City have set up. And now seeing John Stones venture from centre-half into that midfield area. Of course, with Doku coming out in that wide left position, it will mainly be Rodri who'll be the sort of pivot.
So Manchester City now with Ortega in goal, then Walker, Stones, Akanji and Gvardiol. But as Chris has just mentioned there, Stones stepping into the midfield, so Rodri in midfield, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Jeremy Doku and Erling Haaland. We thought he had a case for an early penalty, but here come Manchester United with Dalot making ground down the left wing, a step over, and then the challenge from Walker, who did extremely well again to get back and put in a challenge on Dalot. So Manchester United had to go back infield and back to the halfway line. And United, as they started the 2024 FA Cup final, Onana in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez and Dalot, Amrabat and Mainoo, as Ortega passes the ball carefully out from the back. And then, if you like, the front four, Garnacho, Fernandes, McTominay and Rashford. You might call it 4-6-0.
Well, the old Craig Levein formation. Yep. Much mocked, as Rodri has gone for goal from inside his own half, and Onana just watches it drop over the crossbar. I think he was worried for a millisecond, the Manchester United goalkeeper, but it was comfortably over the top, and it's a goal kick. And has it come to that already? I'd say a millisecond.
Goal kick to Manchester United. So the scoreline, very few were expecting. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2. Mind you, in the last match here for Manchester United, they lost a 3-goal lead against Coventry City. And the last time Manchester City were 2-0 down, you might not be surprised to hear that they came back to win 3-2. Long ball forward towards the edge of the penalty area for the run of Rashford, but Walker just came across and the touch took it through to Ortega.
What a ball it was from Martinez, and Rashford had got on the inside of Kyle Walker and just took a heavy touch. Had he got it under control, it would have been one-on-one. I think the timing of the run was perfect.
Let's see what Dion Dublin's thinking at the start of the second half. Dion.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Man United have come out in the same vein. City have had to change everything to affect what Man United have done, which has been be solid and effective when you have the ball. City haven't had the answers as yet. You can never write them off.
This is 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. Listen as well if you're on the move on BBC Sounds. Dion Dublin, Chris Sutton with us in the commentary box, and here's Bernardo Silva on the right hand side trying to weave some patterns against Diogo Dalot. Comes in field, but Amrabat was in position and was able to gobble that up and pass it forward to McTominay, and McTominay running it towards where Pep Guardiola is standing with his hands on his hips still, as he seems to have done almost permanently since his team went 2-0 down. The ball is passed back to Onana and the United goalkeeper, all in yellow, just like Jeremiah Asiyama, who was on the decks before the game. He clears it away, right-footed towards the halfway line, and they're underway in the second half as well at Hampden, where it is 0-0 in the Old Firm Cup final. The choice of listening, you can hear that on BBC Radio Scotland via BBC Sounds. And on Sports Extra, it is the T20 from Edgbaston, but we'll keep you up to date with all of that. And as well, the big rugby union final, that is on the BBC Sport website. And Manchester United are up to the halfway line with Kobbie Mainoo, who brilliantly scored the second goal in the 39th minute. And now passes it forward towards Bruno Fernandes, does well against Stones, and then couldn't find the pass through. He actually passed it into the leg of John Stones when Rashford was on the burst.
Yeah, I tell you what, a really good period of possession. Before the game, Erik ten Hag said he wanted his team to be brave. They haven't had so much of the ball, but when they had it there, they had possession, they were brave, worked their way up the pitch, and I tell you, had Fernandes made that pass, that would have been a real opportunity. Manchester United to go 3 up. That was a bit of a waste from Bruno Fernandes.
It was 2-0 Manchester United lead, but a free kick. It's actually been brought back for a free kick to Manchester United just forward of the centre circle. So the referee, Andy Madley, had obviously spotted an infringement earlier in the move and brought it back.
I think it was on Scott McTominay, John.
Thanks, Dion. So free kick, Bruno Fernandes looking to take this. Number 8 on his back. Put out quite an emotional post yesterday about how much this means for United. What an awful free kick. that was half hit to Garnacho, and Doku was able to say thank you very much, but United win it back, and it's Wan-Bissaka who's carrying it forward, and Wan-Bissaka with the pass is beyond Garnacho, and it's out for a throw-in to Manchester City. The tempo is something else. City are going for it, and Manchester United look to have I must say, a steely look about them, a team that know that it's within their grasp here, a 2-0 lead, even if it is against Manchester City. Here's Akanji, and the atmosphere is matching that as well. Foden now in the central position permanently with Doku on the left. Rodri rolls the ball out, all in the shadows now to our right at Wembley Stadium. Back to Gvardiol, who made the mistake that led to the first goal for Garnacho. City move it to the right hand side. Bernardo Silva against Dalot, crouching down, left-footed ball in. Haaland waiting, headed away by Martinez. Comes out to Akanji, who volleys it gently to the left-hand side to Doku. Doku up against Wan-Bissaka, then back to Gvardiol, square from him to John Stones, 24 yards out, but Manchester United have got everyone back. It's Rashford who forces John Stones further back, but then City come again. De Bruyne stands on the ball, then it's overhit through from Gvardiol, under pressure as he was, all the way through for a goal kick. Manchester United still lead 2-0.
Yeah, and Manchester City, they're persisting with trying to go through the middle. It is so congested, so many bodies in there. I think second half the game plan has to be get the ball out to Doku because he occupies players. I've seen Amrabat paying close attention. Wan-Bissaka can handle himself in 1v1 situations, but I think he's the key to Manchester City in this second half. I really do.
So Garnacho and Mainu scoring the goals within 9 minutes of each other in the first half, and here is Mainu. Rashford still inside the United half. McTominay now carrying the ball forward, looking for Garnacho. Garnacho speeds into the box on the right hand side, works it back. McTominay, the challenge on him from Rodri, fair challenge. United still with the ball inside the penalty area. It's played across by Bruno Fernandes, but Manchester City can get the block on that and are able to bring the ball away. But there we see it. That's where Manchester United are in this game, with a 2-0 lead, and obviously the pace on the counter-attack, thinking that it might be possible they could get a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, but also their composure on the ball there. Dalot actually clipped that ball initially up in the left-hand channel. Rashford and Mainu linked up brilliantly, kept possession, drove inside the box. McTominay, penalty claim from him. I don't think it was a penalty, but they do look a threat, Manchester United.
They've got confidence, Chris, running through those red shirts. A lot of confidence in the way they're playing, the way they're defending, the way they're coming forward. And they look as though they want to get another one, not just sit in there.
Next goal, very big. Doku, here's Foden 25 yards out, couldn't thread it past Amrabat. Comes out to the bearded Gvardiol. Now Doku into the penalty area, and a touch from Foden. He tried to flick it across, but actually it just deflected off him, and Onana was able to fall on it.
Well, he missed his kick. Doku, once again, really good from him. Little chop inside, and he sees the run of Foden. It just bounces in front of Phil Foden. It's 8 yards out, 9 yards out. Can't get the contact.
I've got news from Monte Carlo, Chris. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc is on pole for the Monaco Grand Prix tomorrow. Max Verstappen in 6th. Here is Foden. Foden forward towards Doku, just outside the penalty area. Across it comes. Haaland, left foot, hits the post, bounces down, and it bounces to Garnacho, and the Manchester United man can clear it out for a throw. City hit the post.
Yeah, and it's Doku. Doku's actually looking for Foden. Said he occupies players, drives, he feeds the ball across. It's about 12 yards, and Haaland on his hammer of a left foot whips the ball, hits the underside of the bar, and to safety.
The Norwegian hammer did not hit the nail on the head. Here is Foden, left-footed out to the left-hand side. I thought that was in, I must say, but it struck right up near the top corner. Doku again now. Challenge comes in from Wan-Bissaka, and that deflected behind it to corner, which, remarkably enough, is the first corner of the match.
It's really good once again from Doku. I don't know how many times I've talked about him in the second half. Drives the outside this time to give Wan-Bissaka something to think about.
So, corner for Manchester City, trying to get that goal to get a foothold. I see Jack Grealish is down there warming up. on the side of the pitch. Here comes the corner into the 6-yard. Oh, a lucky punch from Onana. He was falling forward and he punched it away, probably chest height, and he was very fortunate there that it bounced and cleared the penalty area. Guardiola now, Guardiola square from him. Bernardo Silva now to the left-hand side. De Bruyne is there. His ball in. That's beyond and over everyone, and it's through for a goal kick. And Manchester United continue to lead 2-0. And let me tell you, by the way, the Grand Prix tomorrow, you'll hear that live on 5 Live, our team in Monaco, and that is on 5 Live Sport tomorrow, where you will also hear the news from here at Wembley when Leeds play Southampton, and also we'll have commentary from Roland Garros. A dramatic change of events here, because Manchester City have made a change, and that is the end of this cup final for Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah,
and Alvarez has come on to replace him.
Do you know what I've got to say? By his standards, he has been miles off it today.
He's not a player that you take up in the cup final,
no,
Chris.
No. Well, I think he is based on his performance today, but I get what you mean, but he's been off with his passing. Normally he's so super accurate, isn't he? But Alvarez gets his opportunity.
Yep, so here he is after all of the warm words from Pep Guardiola. Alvarez is on, and here he is, already into the action, into the penalty area on the right-hand side. It is blocked behind. Martinez says the final touch was back onto his World Cup teammate and through for a goal kick, and the assistant agrees.
Yeah, and the reaction as well, John, from Martinez and Dalot for high-fiving, as if to say, yeah, I like that, you helped me out, well done, track your runner.
Still Rangers 0, Celtic 0, and what about the Champions Cup final with you, Chris Jones, at Tottenham?
An hour gone, Leinster 9, Toulouse 12. This is proper World Cup knockout stage, knife-edge stuff, John. A 4th penalty from Toulouse. Blair King on having a really good game. 20 minutes to go of the Champions Cup final. Leinster 9, Toulouse 12.
Alvarez setting up. John Stones on the edge of the box. Now Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva back to Stones. Lifts it into the back post. It's allowed to bounce by Wan-Bissaka, and it hasn't bounced out of play. Rodri is there. Rodri's crossed to the back post. Dallow's underneath that. They head that up and away to the edge of the penalty area. Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United is able to take it down and clear it away to the halfway line, where Bernardo Silva has passed the ball to Garnacho, but there are 2 City men there, and they're able to deal with that together. Guardiola showed a turn of pace against Garnacho and passed it back to Ortega.
Blimey, I didn't realise Guardiola was that quick. He got back with Garnacho. He would have been through there, Garnacho.
Now City come back at United. 2-0 United lead. Doku's into the penalty area. Right foot shot. That's blocked by a combination of Amrabat and Wan-Bissaka, and then Amrabat hares out into the full-back position to clear it away. The match is being played now as though we're deep into added time. It is absolutely breathless.
Yeah, is it fair to say, though, Manchester City didn't play with that desperation and that intensity in the first half? They've certainly come out in the second half like they mean business. A large part of that has been Doku, the introduction of him.
Here's Alvarez, square from him, 30 yards from goal to Rodri. Now Doku on the left-hand side. Doku near the corner of the Manchester United box. Wan-Bissaka and Garnacho back there in front of the ball. The accusation as it comes to Walker. He's going to try a shot, and Onana diving to his left. Gets a strong hand to it. Left hand to deflect it up and over the crossbar. Kyle Walker, who's not scored since I don't know when for Manchester City, nearly found a way through.
Well, it did cross my mind. He's all of 30 yards out. I'm thinking, don't be daft, Kyle. Fires a shot. The save from Onana. Throws himself to his left and gets it round the post. Brilliant save.
Corner taken short. Bernardo Silva to Foden. Then Bernardo Silva again. Alvarez just outside the penalty area, square from him to Jeremy Doku. Doku closed down by Wan-Bissaka, who puts the challenge in. And then City again. Guardiola back towards Walker. Walker must have thought for a moment there that could be in, but Onana to the rescue. Now Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side into the penalty area. Bernardo Silva back to Alvarez, lifts it into the back post. There's a stretching header away by Wan-Bissaka. United right up against it here. Rodri back in, comes off the head of Varane over the top of his own crossbar for a corner.
Onana flapping there. Varane actually in the first half. Right place, right time on many occasions.
Manchester United have got to get through this. Huge City pressure. And now Alvarez on his left foot, when the ball bounced back to him, shoots over the top of the crossbar by maybe 2 feet and turns with his hands on his face.
He should do much, much better. You feel it's coming for Manchester City. 16 yards out, free shot with his weaker left foot, but he's got to hit the target there. That's a big opportunity missed.
This is taking me back, though, to the Champions League quarter-final, where Manchester City were piling on the pressure on Real Madrid in that match, and they did eventually find a way through, but they'd hit the post through Haaland in the second half, and Nana is saved from Walker, and then that chance there from Alvarez. Remains 2-0 to Manchester United in the 2024 Emirates FA Cup final. And what's happening at Hampden with you, Ailey Barber?
Still goalless here, John, but it has bubbled away in this second half. We've had a couple of altercations. Rangers had to make a change at the break. Cyril Dessler's not able to continue. Abdullah Sima came on for him. He's picked up a yellow card already. Head-to-head with Alistair Johnson. It's getting a little bit feisty here at Hampden. We're still waiting for the opening goal, though.
So still 0-0 in Glasgow. You can hear that via BBC Sounds. Look for BBC Radio Scotland on BBC Sounds and you'll be able to hear the commentary. Both of these matches, by the way, on BBC Television. If you're on your way home, you can watch the denouement. 2-0 Manchester United lead as Dalot has impeded Haaland, so a free kick which Manchester City take quickly. Kobbie Mainoo. Oh, back to Hampden. Ailey.
We have the breakthrough, and it's come for Rangers. They came into this as underdogs, but they lead at Hampden from a corner kick. Abdullah Sima, I think it was, who got the final touch in a crowded penalty box. It is Celtic 0, Rangers 1.
Well, Chris, is it going to be the day of the underdog?
Oh, it looks that way, John.
Every underdog has its day.
Yeah, they do. And Celtic, a bit vulnerable from corners. Found out again.
So a turn up at Hampden and a turn up at Wembley. But still, well, actually, less than half an hour to play now. That match when Manchester City were last 2-0 down was in November at the end of the Champions League group stage when they were 2-0 down to RB Leipzig. But if you remember, City were already through. However, came back to win 3-2. And here is Gvardiol as Manchester City now try to do it when it really matters, when the double-double is on the line. Doku coming on as a substitute at half-time. Doku slips it forward, but Foden can't reach that, and it runs through, and it's a goal kick for Manchester United.
Yeah, that's a really good defender. I mean, Doku's wanting to go one-on-one with Wan-Bissaka, and like I've said, Wan-Bissaka is offering him the line because he backs himself when it comes to that last-ditch tackle. Doku's not taking it, trying to come inside, so psychologically he's got one on him there, Wan-Bissaka, having to come inside all the time, Doku.
Well, this is, at the moment, it's a rearguard action, but United have got this goal kick, and so therefore there's a chance for a little breather. Up it goes from Onana, but McTominay's chest down gives it back to Manchester City. Kobbie Mainoo herring around. I spoke to Kobbie Mainoo when he was in the England squad for the first time in March, and had a chat with him, and I asked him about his Manchester United links, and he talked about being a supporter and how it was his dad's influence. Said, who are your favourite players? And he reeled off a list of them, but then he said the biggest hero is, of course, King Eric. King Eric scored in the cup final. Here's Alvarez though in for City, and he steers it wide. Foden, great ball through. Alvarez held off the challenge, opened his body, but left foot rolled it wide.
The pass is exceptional from Foden. The run, brilliant from Alvarez, who, I mean, he should score. Pep Guardiola, head in hands, takes a touch, actually looks up and tries to slide the ball past Onana into the far corner, off target. You cannot be missing opportunities like that.
Yeah, steered it well wide, actually, by 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah, it wasn't. Martinez and Bruno there just taking their eye off Alvarez. He gets in behind. It's a really poor effort, to be honest with you. Really poor effort. Should score.
Back to Hampden again, Ailey.
Where it is, goalless. That Rangers goal disallowed through VAR. Nick Walsh said to the monitor to have a look. Nico Raskin with 2 hands on the back of Joe Hart. A push on the goalkeeper. No goal. And we are back to goalless. Kyogo Furahashi's just gone off. Adam Ida is on for Celtic, and it's Celtic 0, Rangers 0.
So there we are, Chris. VAR steps in, as it so often has done, north and south of the border this season. And back to 0-0 at Hampden. Here's Dalot, Manchester United's Player of the Year, coming in and shooting wide by a yard and a half.
Do you know what? He's had a good game. Here's Dalot on that left-hand side there, driving forward. He's kept Bernardo Silva pretty quiet, as a matter of fact, but just wayward with the effort. Alvarez has made a difference since he has come on, but blimey, what an opportunity to get his team back in it. They can't keep missing them.
And back across North London to the Champions Cup final, Chris Jones.
This titanic tussle is back level. Leinster 12, Toulouse 12. A penalty from Ross Byrne. 14 minutes to go. Extra time, a live possibility. 12-all in the Champions Cup final.
25 minutes to go at sun-soaked Wembley, where Manchester United are on course to win the FA Cup against Manchester City and get a little measure of revenge for what happened here last season. Guardiola square, what a win it would be for Eric Ten Hag. Oh, Stones tries a shot from 25 yards, got it all wrong, got underneath it, sent it sailing above the crossbar, but Pep Guardiola in that grey suit comes out applauding above his head, and he's telling the crowd now to try and get behind his team.
Yeah, he's certainly not applauding the shot from John Stones, because it was woeful. 25 yards out, went high and wide. But Doku once again attracting Wan-Bissaka and Garnacho out on that left-hand side. Quick pass then into Stones centrally. Doesn't hit the target.
I see Eric Ten Hag is sending Rasmus Højlund out to warm up. Here's McTominay through the middle, but it bounces away. Talk about a plan coming together. You know, this formation that we've been talking about with, if you like, a front four that drops back in, a hard-working formation. They've played it in recent matches, and I wonder whether Eric Ten Hag has played this system with the sole intention of thinking this is what we're going to use against Manchester City in the cup final. And of course, in the last couple of games, he's brought Højlund on and he's scored.
Yeah, well, if that was the plan, it's certainly working pretty well.
Certainly is. Chris will be back later with Robbie Savage for 6:06 as Manchester United come down the right-hand side, and Garnacho now into the penalty area, shoots at the goalkeeper Ortega, who gets behind it, but it was hit fiercely and deflected behind and wide for a corner to Manchester United, who lead 2-0 halfway through the second half. And here's Ian Dennis to take you through to the end of 90 minutes and beyond.
Yes, still Manchester City. They always seem to find a way. You wouldn't want to rule them out just yet, with a quarter of the game remaining. Trailing, though, by 2-0. Manchester United with their first shot, their first serious shot in the second half, get a corner kick. Red shirts, black shorts, playing from right to left as we look. Fernandes floats it across from that far side. Varane climbed, just brushed the top of the head of Rafael Varane. His final game, of course, for Manchester United. Will it be the final game for Eric Ten Hag? As it is, Manchester United are going to end what has been a dreadful season in terms of the league, potentially on a high with this FA Cup success as they lead by 2-0.
Yeah, and you know, by the way they've set up and their discipline, you know, I think they've deserved to be ahead. Man City have had most of the ball. They haven't really created many chances. I'm liking the Martinez and Haaland battle back there as well, the big man against the little man. He likes a bit of a scrap, Martinez. He's not backing away from it.
Amrabat tries to throw himself into the challenge. Rolling away, though, was Haaland. Manchester City, sky blue shirts, white shorts, playing from left to right in the sunshine of their half as Akanji, the substitute, carries the ball over the halfway line. BBC Radio 5 Live, also live on the World Service and BBC Sounds as Doku tries to edge his way down that line on that far side. Guardiola to Foden with his back to goal. The return ball to Foden checked as it runs its way back to Onana. 10 years ago was the last time that a team came from 2-0 down in a cup final. Arsenal against Hull City. Manchester City, time is running out for them to try and at least claw their way back into it. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, only takes a moment though. And just looking at the Manchester United midfield, Amrabat looking a little bit leggy. Now wonder whether Eric Ten Hag will think about changing their fresh pair of legs. They have worked so hard to limit City to few opportunities.
Foden chips the ball out towards Doku. Wan-Bissaka with an extended leg did ever so well to bring that ball down at an awkward height, and now it's eventually cleared by Varane. There looked to be an interesting conversation between Højlund and Erik ten Hag as Rashford gets involved in a bit of a tussle with Walker. He called for Højlund moments ago. Højlund said, I need to warm up. Ten Hag looked a little bit perplexed and then irritated, and in the end he said, no, I want you on now, and he was actually going to make a double change. About 4 or 5 minutes ago, he was going to bring on Højlund and Johnny Evans, and then he's had a change of heart. They're continuing to warm up as Doku enters the penalty area, left-hand side. Doku, Haaland is there, couldn't get a touch, and it goes away from Bernardo Silva, and it will run out of play for a corner kick to Manchester City. There's a United player down with cramp.
He's been so positive, Doku, and he drives on the inside. I tell you what, I think it's Garnacho who gets back and makes the block. The ball inadvertently nearly finds its way to Haaland, who was 6 yards out. He can't get a touch.
Martinez is the player who's down. I'm not surprised, bearing in mind he's only recently returned after a calf injury. He's been out since March, so before today, in his last 2 appearances, he played a total of 66 minutes. And on this energy-sapping day with the hot conditions, Martinez is down. There is a stoppage in play as Manchester United, with 19 minutes remaining, are leading by 2-0. We'll get an update in the cricket from Nikesh Ragani.
Yeah, we're in this T20 between England and Pakistan at Edgbaston. Pakistan chasing 184 for victory. They're off to a terrible start though. Reece Topley and Moeen Ali opening the bowling for England, both with a wicket each, both openers back in the hutch, and Pakistan 14 for 2 in the 4th over.
That double change that we talked about is going to be happening. Evans and Højlund are going to be coming on. Remember, it remains 0-0, Celtic Rangers. Commentary of that available through BBC Sounds on BBC Radio Scotland. But here, with 18 minutes remaining, Manchester United are edging ever closer, as Martinez is not going to be able to continue. That's no real surprise, but he's done ever so well.
Kyle Walker's just shoved him, Martinez. I think he wants him to get off the pitch.
And Martinez reacting, so all of a sudden tempers are just starting to fray a little bit here. Dion and Martinez and Walker are still at it. Still a war of words, and the assistant referee on this near side has just had to usher Martinez away, and Gvardiol has had to try and calm down the Manchester City captain.
Yeah, I think Kyle Walker was just getting frustrated with Martinez taking as long as he did to get off the pitch, and a bit of a shove there, and 2 players that are not going to take a backward step, either of them. Kyle Walker still chatting to the referee about his unhappy behaviour of Martinez. Johnny Evans on.
Taking a risk, shoving the butcher like that.
Yeah, he certainly is, but Martinez is off. Rashford is going to be coming off, so Højlund coming on for Marcus Rashford. 17 minutes remaining, but with the substitutions, and that was a lengthy stoppage, as he gets a standing ovation from the Manchester United fans as he makes his way off, and there is a handshake with Erik ten Hag, and then a pat on the back of the head for Marcus Rashford from the Dutch manager. The 4th Dutch manager in an FA Cup final. The previous 3 have all tasted success: Gullit, Hiddink and Van Gaal. Ten Hag hopes to join them. Manchester City need a goal back, trailing 2-0. Corner on this near side, the right. They're attacking the west end of the stadium where the Sky Blue supporters are housed behind that goal. Foden on this near side, the right. Right arm aloft. Left-footed corner kick in towards the far post. Headed up, and it's going to drop behind by Dalot, and it will be another corner kick for Manchester City.
Yeah, it's a good ball in. Dalot does really well. Keeps his eye on the ball. Anything he can do is head it behind.
Corner then on the other side, the far side, the left for Manchester City. 16 minutes of normal time remain here on 5 Live in the World Service. In it comes now, it's an in-swinger, and they're appealing for a penalty there as Haaland went down under the challenge with Mainu. Referee Andy Madley. There are 4 City players who go towards the referee. VAR, of course. Michael Oliver will be having a look.
Well, I tell you the issue here, Mainu's not even looking at the ball, and I do think if you're going to defend like that, you always run the risk. I actually think in this situation, there's no intention of playing the ball, he's playing the man. Let's have a look. I think that should be a penalty awarded for that. You cannot do that.
I think that's terrible defending there, Kobbie Mainoo. He's got away with one if he has got away with it. He's not even looking at the ball. He's grabbed Haaland. He's going to be a danger, but that's not the way to defend, young man.
Is there as a blocker, but you have to be a little bit more subtle than that.
Guardiola inquires with the fourth official, Simon Hooper. And when I was greeted by Alan Shearer when we started today's programme, and he said, I hope you got some sun cream on your napper. I hope Simon Hooper has the bald-headed fourth official as he's still in the sunshine down there on this baking hot day here at Wembley. Manchester United, everybody back behind the ball. Here is Akanji. Lays it out to Gvardiol. Doku waits out wide on that far side. Closed down quickly by Wan-Bissaka, level with the area. Back to Gvardiol once again. Short and square. Rodri. Snapping away was Højlund. Alvarez just outside the penalty area. Just a wall of red that they have to try and get through. Doku will go on the outside. Wan-Bissaka sticking to his task manfully. Doku's forced to go back. Manchester City still have the ball. Can't find a way through. They created a number of chances in this second half. Walker again with a shot. Onana with a save. Low down to his right. Strong right arm. And Walker denied again by the United goalkeeper.
Yeah, Haaland on his heels. He may have been offside actually with the initial shot from Walker. Good strike it is. 25 yards out. Fizzes a right-footed shot and Onana, big right hand. And I think Haaland flagged for offside, but credit McTominay. He read that situation where the ball was going to drop and cleared his lines.
Last goal was October 2021. He's not renowned for his goal scoring. Indeed, he's only scored 6 in his 300 appearances, but twice now he's tested Onana.
Yeah, and he's done really well. 2 very good strikes as well. Onana there, really good save to the left-hand side early in the first half, and then the second half down to his right. Even though Haaland was offside, I do believe that Onana's playing one of the best games I've seen him play. Stopping the ball going in the back of the net, getting rid of the ball when he needs to get rid of the ball.
84,814 is the official attendance for this repeated cup final as Doku wriggles his way in from that left-hand side. Amrabat, though, with the challenge, direct free kick awarded to Manchester City. United protest to the referee, Andy Madley. 4 of them go around the referee. This is a direct free kick, which is just right of centre.
I think it was a free kick. Amrabat, I think he's slightly clumsy there with the challenge, slightly overzealous with the challenge. Don't want to let Doku get his head up and pick a pass. Doku gets his body in. It's a strong challenge. In fairness, you know, looking at back on the monitor, it could have gone either way. But this is a really good range, this, for, I think it'll be Alvarez, Dion.
They say, remember, there's no De Bruyne on the field now.
Yeah, Foden's over as well. Either way, left footer, right footer. Just setting up the ball. I mean, on this occasion, I would imagine there'll be some sky blue shirts flying in for any bits that come off Onana.
If you're listening in Kent, you won't want a particular reminder of this, but of course it was 25 years ago that Manchester City, in one of their iconic games in their history, produced 2 late goals in a dramatic finish to get promoted to the second tier of English football against Gillingham when they were 2-0 down. So don't go anywhere, because with 12 minutes remaining, anything yet can happen. As Alvarez with his right foot or Foden with his left. It's a free kick to Manchester City, 2-0 down. It is Foden, into the wall, comes down. Alvarez off his chest, passes the ball out low to Doku. Wan-Bissaka with interception. Højlund was away, but it was cut out well. Let's get a look at the Rugby Union. Chris Jones.
4.5 minutes to go. Leinster 12 to lose 15. A beautiful Ramos pen has put the French ahead, but Leinster have a scrum 25 metres out. 4.5 minutes to go. Leinster 12 to lose 15 in the Champions Cup final.
And commentary continues on that online on the BBC Sport website. For the cricket, it's live on Sports Extra. Remember, Celtic 0, Rangers 0. That Rangers goal disallowed after VAR. Commentary via BBC Sounds through Radio Scotland. Højlund, was he tugged back? Yes, he was. Free kick to Manchester United to offer a little bit of respite just outside the penalty area. Still leading 2-0, just over 10 minutes remaining.
Yes, top stuff from Højlund from a Manchester United perspective. Uses his body very, very well. Akanji, he draws the foul as Højlund. Just allows Manchester United to run the clock down, but this is actually a decent shooting position. That's his job, to come on, hold the ball up, bring other players, other teammates into play. within shooting range, this, Dion.
Yeah, I think this will be Bruno Fernandes, possibly an outswinger by the looks of it. Put it into that dangerous area, see if he can get anything on it, whether it's a blue or a red shirt.
Fernandes waits, just rocking slightly. Right corner of the penalty area. Fernandes runs up now, hits it right-footed. It was travelling, but it was caught just off the surface there by Ortega, all in green. Couldn't get the early release, thought about it, and in the end just rolls it out towards Kyle Walker. And we have less than 10 minutes remaining now here at Wembley on BBC Radio 5 Live. 6:06 coming up after we've brought you all the reaction as much as we can live in the tunnel here at Wembley, as Rodri, central position. Stones plays the ball back. He was on the edge of the area. It's retrieved on this near right touchline by Bernardo Silva. Into the path of Rodri, in towards Foden. Cleared by Amrabat. Scuffs it away, only as far as Walker. Walker back out to Doku. Pops up on the right-hand side, level with the area. Up against Dalot on this occasion. Shifts the ball on the outside. Works in a low cross. There was Johnny Evans to clear it away. Manchester United on the back foot.
It's an absolute nightmare defending against Doku, isn't it? I mean, how quick are his feet there? He manoeuvres the ball. Dalot does really well to actually get a block on the cross.
Foden then to take the corner kick on this near side the right. Left-footed, delivered deep. Onana swats it away. Watchful goalkeeping. Outstretched arm, far side. It's going to be played back in by Alvarez. Punched away rather than catching the ball, Onana. They get away with it though, and now it's played forward by Mainu, looking towards Garnacho. Potential break on. Kyle Walker goes across towards Garnacho, goes out for a United throw.
Really good play, you know, from United. Not just whacking the ball upfield, trying to find a teammate. Great ball from Wan-Bissaka that time. Onana's having an absolute blinder. Tried to punch away that time, got the punch all wrong, but he got it out of the dangers area, which is what you need to do. United taking as much time as they want now.
Can't help but think of that conversation I was saying at the start of the programme that had with Eric Ten Hag back in November. He's, I think, irritated by the fact that there's no middle ground when you're the Manchester United manager, black or white. He said him either referred to as a genius or an idiot. Well, today, if his plan comes off, he'll go down as a genius.
Yeah, but you have to look over the whole season. New owners have gone in, but if this is his last game, a nice way to leave for him, won't it?
An FA Cup to add to the League Cup that he won last year. There's certainly questions about his future, just as there were at the start of the game, as Fernandes with a diagonal ball swings it over. Varane climbs, and the flag's up on that far side, and it will be a free kick. Another update with Chris Jones at the rugby.
We're going to extra time unless someone can score in the last 40 seconds. Leinster 15, Toulouse 15, 79 minutes, 20 seconds gone, but Leinster are pressing. Can they work a penalty? Can they work a drop goal? 15 all in the Champions Cup final. Frawley with the drop goal for victory, for the win. It's up, it's far enough. But he's just pushed it left, inches away from glory. 30 seconds to go, 15 all.
Dramatic finish there. Commentary continues online. What's the latest at Hampden, Ailey?
Into the final 10 minutes here. It is still goalless, but it is Celtic on the back foot. Rangers have got the bit between their teeth. They are pushing. They are looking for the opener. It is frantic. It is feisty. And the crowd, they are up for this one. It is still Celtic 0, Rangers 0.
We have 6 minutes remaining here at Wembley. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2. City have scored 148 goals this season. They've only failed to score on 4 occasions in their 58 previous games. But they're drawing a blank. Haaland so close when he hit the post as Ortega hits it downfield. And now Manchester United supporters find their voices in the closing stages here on 5 Live as Amrabat plays the ball back towards Varane. Varane goes further back towards Onana, and he hits it first time, right-footed, downfield. Hoyland backing into Akanji, heads it forward, the City defender. There, though, is Amrabat, who will bring the ball under control and back to his goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's been excellent. Amrabat and Mainu in that central area really have nullified the threat of Manchester City.
Remember Pep Guardiola, he has won all 6 domestic finals, as the stewards start to now get into position next to our commentary box, because this is where the winning side will make their way up to collect the trophy. Manchester United looking in a record 22nd FA Cup final to win it for a 13th time, unless something dramatic happens in the 5 minutes remain of normal time, as Manchester City, who had that spell when they were full on against Manchester United, have just lost their way a little bit.
Yeah, well, it was the Alvarez chance was the one, wasn't it, where it drove into the box, 1v1 with Onana. The shot drifted agonisingly past the far post. That was their big opportunity. Haven't taken it. This is a long way out, but Alvarez, seen him hit them in the past.
It's over 30 yards out from goal. It's a central position. 4.5 minutes remain. Free kick to Manchester City. United still lead 2-0. Walker plays it out to Doku, left corner of the area. Doku plays it in low. Cleared away by that Manchester United defence. That was McTominay back there helping out. Comes now to Alvarez. He goes infield to Foden. Lopsided a little bit Manchester City at the minute. All down that left-hand side to Doku. Doku comes inside, right-footed, shoots low and finds a way in. He beats Onana inside his near post to set up a thrilling finish here at Wembley. Less than 4 minutes remaining, and Doku gets Manchester City a goal back. It's Manchester City 1, Manchester United 2.
Yeah, hope for Manchester City. First of all, Dion, you can't let Doku back on his inside, on his right foot. But he strikes it well from, 22 yards? Goalkeeper's got to do better, Onana. It's a really poor goalkeeping error. Beats Onana at his near post. I think Onana actually gets a touch on it. But he should do much, much better, diving to his right-hand side. Very much game on now.
Can't get beaten at that near post. He's played so well as well, Onana, but this time lets himself down with his angles. But Doku has been the difference for City by a million miles down that left-hand side. Positive every time.
Well, he showed a strong arm earlier with the saves against Walker, but he seemed to just push the ball into the back of the net. You'd expect the keeper to do better, Chris.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's an absolute shocker. Manchester United seeing this through quite nicely. What a finish we've got on now.
Lightning didn't strike twice, with a repeat of the early goal after last season. Gundogan after 13 seconds. But just highlighting that Gillingham game, and Paul Dickoff indeed is here today. Could Manchester City salvage it just when it seemed all was lost? 2.5 minutes of normal time remain. Doku once again dancing his way forward into the penalty area, only partially cleared and eventually dug out by Dalot. Manchester United now have to dig deep as Manchester City come on strong, and he's the go-to man, Doku. Once again, here he comes again inside the area. Doku with a shot, blocked once more. He is leaving that United defence bewildered.
Well, just a totally different team, aren't they, with Doku in it? Been such a threat in the second half. It's actually been a good battle with Wan-Bissaka.
We are going to have 6 minutes of added on time. We're still not at that stage, incidentally. We're only in the 89th minute now. Cries of come on City, come on City. 2-1 to United. Ball played forward by Walker, scooped out towards that far side. Doku once again. Back inside now to Guardiola outside the area. Foden with the layoff. A little bit of a heavy touch. Forced Rodri away from the penalty area. Back out to Doku once again. Garnacho goes with him. Doku tries to play it on the infield. No return ball. Headed back by Akanji. Walker has to go back. All hands to the pump, Dion.
Yeah, it is, and United have really got to continue what they've been doing all game, and that's getting back into their shape, being aggressive. Don't let Doku come on the inside anymore. So dangerous, and there's loads of sky blue shirts getting in the box now.
Simon Hooper is poised with that electronic board. Rodri chips it out to Doku once again. Doku have doubled up on him, passes the ball inside. Guardiola on the stretch, edge of the area, keeps it with City. Akanji's going to shoot, right-footed, always on the rise, goal kick. Manchester City still trail. Full time in the rugby, Chris Jones.
We're going to extra time for the first time in the Champions Cup final since 2005. Leinster 15, Toulouse 15. Kieran Frawley almost almost won it right at the death with his drop goal just missed left. We're about to get underway in the first of 2 periods of 10 minutes of extra time. 15 all at the Tottenham Stadium.
Thank you very much, Chris. One of the coaching staff of Manchester City. 7 minutes of added on time has just been shown a yellow card by referee Andy Madley. 7 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. We were anticipating 6, but Simon Hooper has shown 7. Lindelof is going to be coming on for Manchester United. Lindelof, who has missed the last 10 games, he's been out since the end of March with a thigh problem. Defensive reinforcement for Manchester United. They have a slender lead. Live on 5 Live in the World Service as Garnacho wins a corner.
Kenji's furious because I think the last touch did come off Garnacho.
Yeah, the referees realised and said it was a goal kick. And it's taken quickly as Rodri charges his way forward. In fact, Mason Mount is also going to be coming on for Manchester United. So it's going to be a double change being made by Erik ten Hag. He's missed the last 3 matches, Mason Mount. Remember, he's got that dreadful Wembley record as well, hasn't he, of never winning a final in his career here at this stadium. Doku, left-hand side, the City fans behind him all rise to their feet, pushes the ball towards the byline. Wan-Bissaka forces it behind for a corner kick. City still coming on very, very strong.
That's been a monumental duel. Wan-Bissaka prods it behind for a corner. Sizable team, City.
Far side the left, City playing from left to right. It's an in-swinging corner and it's caught by Onana. Good, assured handling on this occasion as he drops down to the floor.
That's how you take the pressure off your team. Come and get the ball, highest point, roll on the floor for a few more seconds, take as long as you possibly can, get the ball forward and defend again, because City are going to keep coming.
These 5 minutes, if you are a Manchester United supporter, must be unbearable. Your side have a slender lead, but you're coming under sustained pressure from Manchester City. And now here is the double change being made that will add at least another minute. Whilst the change is happening, we're going to nip to Hampden, Ailey Barber.
Where Adam Ida has the ball in the back of the net for Celtic. It was a shot from distance from Paolo Bernardo. Jack Butland saved it, but Adam Ida was there to knock in the rebound. It will be checked. I'm not sure if there was a hint of offside. That will be checked, but at the moment the goal stands. Celtic are celebrating. It's Celtic 1, Rangers 0.
A treble last year, a double this year.
Yep, that would represent a pretty decent season. I think it's been okay anyway, Ian. Depends how high your standards are.
Well, Mason Mount has come on for McTominay. Lindelof has replaced Garnacho. Hope that wasn't you going through the motions, Chris. Doku far side the left. City are still looking for a double-double. But they are being frustrated by Manchester United as Mainu releases Højlund. And we have 3.5 minutes remaining of the minimum of 7 here at Wembley Stadium on 5 Live in the World Service. City 1, United 2.
I'll tell you what, Mainu there, Dion, once again, keeping possession. Not the easiest pass that.
Yeah.
He finds it.
Brilliant, brilliant. Just taking the pressure off his team, travels 20, 30 yards, gets his team up the pitch.
That goal stands, by the way. Remember, Rangers earlier had a goal ruled out after VAR, so Celtic do lead Rangers 1-0 as Fernandes goes with an ambitious effort. Saw Ortega off his line. He was almost on the halfway line, just inside the City half, hit it right-footed. As Højlund picked up a... Oh no, sorry. It's McTominay walking around. I thought it was a United player, but it's...
Got a yellow card for that, I think, Dana.
Did he?
Got a yellow card. Scott McTominay's walking off the pitch from the furthest possible point. Just about to take a quick free kick, Ortega, and Scott McTominay rolls the ball onto the pitch just to slow him down a bit. Yellow card for his antics.
Under 3 minutes remaining. Animated as ever in his suit is Pep Guardiola. Manchester City have all the possession as they look for a late equaliser to force this final into extra time. Doku once again waits, left-hand side. Passes the ball back in field. Gvardiol, little bit of a stumble, finds Akanji, toe ends it towards Walker. Walker now to Bernardo Silva on this near side, the right. Manchester United defending deep. Bernardo Silva, right corner of the area, charged down by Bruno Fernandes. United still working very, very hard. Just over 2 minutes remain here on 5 Live. Gvardiol. Inside the centre circle to Akanji. Can they find a way as it's rolled out to Bernardo Silva? Fernandes looks to close down his fellow Portuguese international. There was another one, Dalot, and then it bounces off John Stones and behind for a goal kick. And Dalot celebrates that goal kick decision, as do the United fans as they eat away valuable seconds.
It's a poor touch from John Stones, but Manchester United with Lindelof on another centre-half. They're saying we'll deal with the crosses from wide areas. City still probing, still trying, still trying to create that one opportunity which Pep will be craving for.
Not quite been at the standard though, City. Not quite been at their own standards, which are incredibly high. Slightly been off it, and I do believe they've been shocked by United's intensity today.
Mainu has been named the player of the match. The two teenagers, the two match winners for Manchester United with those first half goals. City, though, trailing by 2 goals to 1. We're inside the last 60 seconds of the minimum of 7 minutes of added on time. Rodri carries the ball out towards Doku. Doku now with the cross. Haaland at the far post, kept alive ever so well by Bernardo Silva. Falls to Walker. His shot down into the ground and then cleared on the half volley by Mainu from Haaland's header back into the penalty area. Højlund is in pursuit. Alvarez has to go back with him. Højlund gets there, holds it up, spins away from the Argentine, runs forward. He's got plenty of options now. He was caught late. They tried to play the ball for good refereeing from Andy Madley. Tried to let the game flow. Manchester United won the counter-attack. Alvarez is shown a yellow card. And now with the 7 minutes all but up, Manchester United fans starting to wave those red flags once again, because they know now they're within touching distance of lifting the FA Cup.
Yeah, just run down the clock. They had a 5-on-3 there. Manchester United. Højlund did brilliantly initially, pinching the ball off Alvarez. Amrabat had made the run, prods the ball forward, but won the free kick. Perfect this for Manchester United. Give themselves a bit of breathing space. This must be it.
This is just going to go long by Bruno Fernandes. He just kicks the ball like a rugby union fullback out into touch, and there is the final whistle. And Manchester United have won the FA Cup for a 13th time. Manchester City's attempt to do the double-double has been dashed. Sheer delight for the red half of Manchester. And Erik ten Hag, after all that speculation about his future, ends the season on a high. Manchester United celebrate. They've beaten Manchester City by 2 goals to 1.
Yeah, well, if Erik ten Hag is going to leave, what a way to bow out. And what a performance from his team. Disciplined, all seem to be part of the plan. Gifted with the first goal. The second goal was such a brilliant goal, and they held out in the second half. Defended so well. Limited City to very few chances. The underdogs have got over the line.
I think this is fully deserved. I think United deserve this. I think Erik ten Hag, the way he sets his team up, absolutely perfect today. City didn't have the answers. They normally do find them. But on this occasion, Man United's intensity, organisation, concentration, when they have the ball, they created chances. Their 2 goals are outstanding. So happy for Erik ten Hag. He deserved this win today, and so did Manchester United.
Manchester United's players, coaching staff are celebrating in front of their fans over on that left-hand side. The first half goals from Garnacho and Mainu. Doku set up a tense finish, but Manchester United have won the FA Cup. They will be in Europe next season after a dreadful league campaign. It's finished here at Wembley. Manchester United 2, Manchester City 1.
Goodness me. The contrast, as you would expect, in the scenes down below us. Forlorn, dejected City players and fans as Pep Guardiola goes around each of his players and shakes hands and hugs them. And to our left, Dion, Dublin, it is a mixture of unbridled joy and relief for so many different reasons.
Yeah. You know, I just think the way that they started the game, and they started the game in a certain way, they finished the game in a certain way. Højlund, all the substitutes that Mr. Ten Hag made today all had an effect on the game and on the outcome. It was lovely to see when the final whistle went. Marcus Rashford was running in front of the fans all the way along the hoardings, all the way in front of those white and red flags, as if to say, thank you, we got over the line, this is what I want for you. United fans are delighted, and all the staff on the pitch bouncing about, enjoying themselves. Fully deserve this for me, chappers.
There are a lot of players down there who have had difficult seasons. Chris Sutton, look, I know Onana maybe shouldn't have let the City goal in, but I'm thinking of Onana. I'm thinking of Amrabat, actually, who was brilliant in the middle of midfield. There are a few others as well. We talked about Bruno Fernandes' leadership. The manager himself, you know, they've had difficult moments, they've had difficult seasons, but today they delivered.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a motivated Manchester United team. The thing I'm scratching my head with, where have these performances been this season? You know, speculation over Ten Hag's future. Why? There's been, you know, they've lacked identity. I've got to say, you know, City were a little bit off it, but all the credit goes to Manchester United. The game plan, John touched on it, played this formation against Brighton, went with it today with Fernandes as the false nine. The brilliant second goal. You know, what a goal. You know, one of the best FA Cup final goals I've ever seen. But then to see it through in the second half, because we expected Manchester City to come out and go for the jugular. They did that, but United, I thought, thoroughly deserved their victory in the end. Really nice balance to the team.
Another one I missed out, actually, there was Rashford, Dion, really, you know, who didn't... If the criticism that's been aimed at him this season is, for crying out loud, Marcus, track back, work hard. Yeah. He worked hard today.
100%. He put a shift in today, Marcus. He really did. Martinez as well was out on his legs as well. Mark, you know, cramp, trying to deal with big Haaland up top as well. He did a great job. I just believe that they've been working all week for this performance. Forget the outcome, forget the result. The performance has got them where they need to be today. And Chris's and I've said all day, just that concentration, you could see it was taking its toll at the end. Højlund comes on with legs and he just holds on to the ball, takes the pressure off his team. All the boys in the red shirts are pumping their fists and shouting at the fans, and the reciprocation from the fans as well. It's very much a, you know what, we're not bad, you know, when we stick together. That's what the players are saying to the fans.
And a word for City, Chris, as we look out down there, sort of a dejected Kevin De Bruyne just on the edge of the 18-yard line, waving to some of the City fans. He obviously came off, maybe on the hour mark in that second half, and Alvarez coming on for him. I mean, it doesn't take away from the season that City have had and 4 back-to-back titles, but they will feel it tonight. They will feel it.
Absolutely. You know, it's an FA Cup final, but a Manchester derby. They've lost to their great rivals in a game which I think most people thought that they would win and win comfortably if they turned up. But the big players for City did not turn up today. De Bruyne, you know, had a really flat game. Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden's been brilliant this season. He was slightly off it. But as I say, I think the credit goes to Manchester United and the way that they performed. Erik Ten Hag before the game spoke about being brave. They were brave, deserved the win.
Plenty more reaction to come, the trophy lift to come as well, and then it is Chris and Robbie with 6:06. Are you on at 6?
Well, it's normally on around 6-ish, isn't it?
I've no idea.
6, yeah, I think I'm told we're on a 6. I just do as I'm told.
Let's get in the car and put Lisa Tarbuck on. I don't know. Let's go to the Scottish Cup final. I think that may have finished. Ailey Barber.
It has finished, and Adam Ida's goal is the difference. Celtic lifting the Scottish Cup for a 42nd time, and like when these two teams met back in 2002 in the Scottish Cup final, it was a goal in the 90th minute that sealed it. Pat Nevin alongside me, more yellow cards than goal scoring opportunities in this one, but what a battle.
Yeah, it was a battle. It wasn't a classic game in terms of quality, but you have to look at those tiny little moments and tiny little quality bits that you can get. And in the end, Celtic had that, but Rangers didn't. Rangers were getting better and better and better and stronger as the game was going on. By the last 10 minutes, Rangers looked far more likely to win this trophy. However, the Brendan Rodgers effect brings on his two substitutes. Bernardo drives away, superb shot, bends in the air. Butland can do very little, said pat it out, and he's brought on another striker who's there to tap it in. Just those tiny little moments have made all the difference. And Brendan Rodgers has absolutely got the Indian sign over Rangers, hasn't he?
Oh, he does indeed. He's never lost here at Hampden either. A third Scottish Cup win for him. And Adam Ida, a signing that came not with great excitement amongst the Celtic fans, but my goodness, he has scored important goals for them. And this one, possibly one of the most important. Pat.
Thank you very much, Ailey. Let's go to the Champions Cup final, which has gone into extra time. Chris Jones.
And in the first half of extra time, Toulouse have made their move. James Lowe sin-binned. Toulouse exploited the extra man. Mathis Lebel scoring in the corner, the first try at the cup final. Ramos converted. He's kicked another goal. The lead is 10. Toulouse have just had a man sent off as we tick towards half-time in extra time. But Toulouse are almost there, and it could be more. Final heartbreak for Leinster. It'd be their third defeat in 3 years at this stage. Almost up the first half of extra time. 10 minutes gone at the 10 minutes. 15-25, Leinster 15, Toulouse 25. Final play of the first half of extra time.
The BBC Sport website and app, if you want to follow that. The cricket is on Sports Extra, that second T20 international between England and Pakistan. I am just watching on the screen here, Dion, as well. There are so many of the young players congregated together. Garnacho, Hoyland, Kobe Mainu, of course, who got player of the match. You know what? In all the discussion about the chaos of Manchester United at times, both on and off the field, for those young players at the start of their career,
I think it's amazing. I really do. And you know, the players you've mentioned all had a part to play in this game today. Absolutely outstanding. Kobe Mainu playing the game like a seasoned pro, taking pressure off his team, creating fouls in the middle of the park, stopping the game. Hoyland as well when he came on. Garnacho just running with the ball. You know what, I've got to say one thing about Wan-Bissaka today. I thought he was outstanding, absolutely outstanding, playing one-on-one against one of the best in the business, Doku. All he wants to do is go down the side, left, right. You never know what he's going to do. And then when Wan-Bissaka gets the ball, he's trying to pick a pass now. So he's got better under Ten Hag as well. So lots and lots of pluses from today's game. But like Chris said, where has this kind of performance been all season? That's the level, Man United. That's the level.
Yeah, you know what? Dion makes a great point about Wan-Bissaka. What a duel that was. You know, I'm not going to say an old-fashioned duel, but football, a large part of that is, you know, directly up against your opponent. Doku was brilliant, but Wan-Bissaka sort of held his own. They were doubling up, they were trebling up at times. He's a nightmare to play against because he can go both ways. I know he ended up with the goal, but that wasn't you know, because of Wan-Bissaka. But no, he was outstanding. But Mainu, the confidence he has on the ball, he doesn't waste passes, he doesn't panic. That's what's so impressive about him.
And we will hear from him shortly. As I say, one player of the match. We'll hear from the Manchester United captain as well. The presentation is just starting. Eventually, we've got the referees, the referee and his assistants going up first of all, and then City will head up too. And you can get your calls in 4606 08085 909 693. Mas Faruqi is pitch side for us. You're at a very deserted City end, aren't you?
Yeah, well, the City fans did stay till full time, so they credit that late Doku goal, obviously revitalising their hope, but they are filtering away now. So many chances in that second half when the wall of noise sort of built up around me, when they felt certain that the back of the United net would bulge. Those chances for Haaland, for Walker, for Alvarez. A couple of City fans held up sort of banners in defiance at full time that said Premier League champions, history made, 4 in a row, but it is still very, very quiet, at least for today, for these City fans here now at Wembley.
Okay, the people who organise all of this are just trying to guide Carl Walker and his his City players to follow the officials up the steps. Of course, a reverse of this time last year when Manchester United had to go first as the runners-up and watch their City rivals pick up the trophy. It's an obvious thing to say, Dion, isn't it? But it means so much on so many different levels for Manchester United. Actually,
it does because and this in particular, this game against City, you know, to win the FA Cup is just amazing. It's an amazing journey, but to beat City as well. I mean, all the players now, City have come from my right, they've been saying goodbye to their fans. Man United to my left have been celebrating with their fans. They've all come together now in the middle of the pitch, and I can just see both sets of players high-fiving each other, giving each other hugs and you know, just respecting each other, which I think is very good to see. Very good from City as well. Losing with dignity.
Do you know what I would say? There are, because obviously there are lots of different nationalities in these teams, and the different nationalities do have communities within Manchester.
Absolutely.
You know, the Brazilians,
yes.
whether they've been blue or red, have all helped each other when they've settled in, and it's a real reminder actually of going back to the 70s when the United and City players, you know, Best and Summerby were great friends, and actually that's a really heartwarming. City fans might not think so, but that's a real heartwarming side of both groups of players, not just shaking hands but embracing each other. I can see Lisandro Martinez and Julian Alvarez at the moment embracing. That's you know, from a Manchester point of view, without going over emotional coming from the City, that's really nice to see.
It is nice to see as well, and you know, there's relationships there. You know, they probably do mix away from the game itself, but fair play to City. I mean, I think Diaz is still down there now chatting to some players.
Carlo he was chatting to, and he was chatting to Martinez. John Murray will get a sign here of City and Pep Guardiola and Kyle Walker coming past right this minute.
Yeah, right here. I can almost reach out and touch Pep Guardiola as he walks past me.
Don't do that, you'll be thrown out.
Yeah, and up he goes up the grey steps, and they actually have to walk past the FA Cup, which is here. It's actually just out of the window to my left. There's an RAF officer there with black leather gloves on, the shiniest black shoes I think I've ever seen in my life. And he's actually standing with the FA Cup at the foot of the stairs as the Manchester City players come up, Kevin De Bruyne now. And when they get to the top of the steps, Jeremy Doku, Oscar Bob, Rodri, as they look up, there's the FA Cup. Look at what you could have won. And up they go, up the steps. Of course, this is the first time for Rodri that he's lost in 75 Manchester City matches, and it's all heads bowed. Bernardo Silva is there as well. Will this be Bernardo Silva's last game for Manchester City? There's a bit of talk of that around at the moment. And up they go onto the top level where they will be shaking hands. Yes, they are. This is out of our sight. It's on the next level above where we are. Pep Guardiola leading them up there. This is his first defeat in a domestic cup final in England as the Manchester City manager after winning the first 6. And in actual fact, in all of the cup finals he's had as a coach, he's had 20 now. He's lost only 3. That's not bad, is it? What a record that is. So this one today against Eric Ten Hag's Manchester United, the Champions League final against Tuchel's Chelsea, and then a Copa del Rey against Jose Mourinho's Real Madrid. So the Prince of Wales is hanging the runners-up medals around the necks of the Manchester City players. Could have been a double-double today, but not to be.
But I just wonder, as you take your eyes from the City players as the final few file through to get their medals, and I just look down into the shadows of the Wembley pitch, and they're waiting to lead his side up. And Dion is deep in conversation with Lisandro Martinez, who doesn't help make a difference to this Manchester United side. You talk about where performances have been at times this season. Well, when they're without him, they're a vastly different team to the side they are with him. And Eric Ten Hag stands there in his suit and his red tie and his arms folded. And I just wonder what is going through his head as City form a guard of honour for United.
That's outstanding.
What a nice touch that is, Dion.
Yeah.
What a nice touch.
Wow.
It really is a nice touch, and that's respect. And well done City again, and that's down to the manager again, I would imagine, or the captain that have done that.
And it is Erik ten Hag who's leading them there. And I noticed as well, you know, obviously the managers went to one another after the end of the match, and there was an exchange and a handshake, and they spoke together. I noticed as well in the aftermath of the celebrations, Erik ten Hag and Pep Guardiola met again on the halfway line, and there was some what I would imagine were some very nice words said between the two of them, which backs up what Mark was saying. But here we are. How many of us expected to see this here today? Manchester City's players have formed a guard of honour for Manchester United. They are now there with their runners-up medals hanging around their necks, and they're watching Erik ten Hag walking up the steps directly towards me here. Here he comes in his cup final suit, little steps, straight face, and the FA Cup final. The Manchester United team that have won it are now gathering at the foot of the steps here, coming up one by one. United supporters, and this, what a contrast this is with the Manchester City players who came up these steps just a few minutes ago, faces wreathed in smiles. That was the voice of Diogo Dalot, one of Manchester United's players of the season, shouting out in celebration. Willy Camboila, who's made his breakthrough this season, he's got his arms around Christian Eriksen. Here's Garnacho, who scored the opening goal. Onana has got a Cameroon flag draped around his neck. Amad Diallo is there as well. What a part he played, Amad Diallo, in this FA Cup run for Manchester United. Still they come. Rasmus Højlund, first season at Manchester United. Huge smile. And here, Luke Shaw's there as well, and Harry Maguire, both of whom were not able to play in the final today because of injury. We'll see whether they're able to play a part for England this summer. Tom Heaton is there as well with them. Here's the captain coming up last, Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, who put that post out this week, which I thought was very, very well timed. It was emotional, talking about his children in the car, how they love Manchester United and how much they wanted to win this weekend on this cup final Saturday. And Casemiro as well, who was ruled out just before the game, is there at the back of the line as well with Bruno Fernandes. But up on the middle tier of Wembley Stadium now, the medals are being handed out, the cup final winning medals. Manchester City, they're now last year's team in the FA Cup. Erik ten Hag has led United to what is their 13th FA Cup final victory, but I would imagine this will be as sweet and possibly sweeter than any of the previous 12, because it means that the FA Cup is going from East Manchester across the city to the west and into the hands of Manchester United. They've denied Manchester City the double-double, and Bruno Fernandes is just being ushered forward there up on the next tier to put himself into position to receive that great trophy. What an FA Cup run it's been. The early rounds for Manchester United against Wigan. Remember the game at Newport in the FA Cup? Nottingham Forest as well, when Onana made some important saves. Casemiro scored the goal there. And then that quarter-final against Liverpool. That incredible semi-final here against Coventry City. And now they've come here and they've beaten Manchester City to win it. And Bruno Fernandes now receives the FA Cup and lifts it high. And Manchester United and Erik ten Hag can enjoy their day in the sun at Wembley Stadium. What on earth the future holds for Erik ten Hag? Well, we'll find out in the coming days. But for Erik ten Hag, who's dancing on the balcony at Wembley with his Manchester United players, for Erik ten Hag, 2 seasons, 2 cups delivered. Last time they won this trophy, they sacked their manager. Well, let's see what the new ownership does with Erik ten Hag. But it is a first trophy for Ineos since they bought into the club, since they took over the football side of the operation. And now the FA Cup, you can hear the cheers as it's being handed from one Manchester United player to another. And Jim Ratcliffe has got a smile on his face. Behind him, Sir Alex Ferguson as well. And Chris Sutton, you asked the question, where did this performance come from? I mean, it's a genuine cup upset, isn't it? The FA Cup delivering surprises over 143 seasons, and here is just another one.
Yeah, there's no doubt it was a cup upset, but fair play to Erik ten Hag and the way that his team went about it. They had a lovely balance to their play. I don't think just think back to the semi-final against Coventry and how they got over the line, and then you mentioned their journey here, but maybe it was just written in the stars that the players under severe pressure had to go out and perform today, and they did perform, something they haven't done enough of this season.
Manchester City celebrated last Sunday night. They've got their parade tomorrow for 4 in a row, but they won't have the FA Cup with them because Erik ten Hag's got it instead. And this Dutchman who has come under such fire this season, whatever you say about him, and he's kissing it now. Erik ten Hag has got the FA Cup and he lifts it up 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Erik ten Hag, whatever you say about him, he is correct, he's upright, he is a decent and disciplined man, and it's a disciplined Manchester United performance that has won them the cup.
And that line, Dion, as well from John there, 2 seasons, 2 trophies for Erik ten Hag. And the cameras keep focusing on whichever Glazer that is, and Jim Ratcliffe and Alex Ferguson and various others in that box. I'd love to know what they're thinking at the moment, given everything over the last 48, 72 hours.
Yeah, I think there's some cute, confused thoughts and people in the stand, because I just believe that this is the performance and that's the level that Man United are at. How he's got that today from our players, I really don't know. But they have come out and been absolutely outstanding today. They really have. To a man in a red shirt, including the subs and the manager. I'm looking at the screens now. Erik ten Hag's coming down the stairs with the FA Cup under his left arm, beaming smile, having photographs with people. I am so happy for him. Been lucky enough to interview him a few times, and he's as straight as he comes. Tells you what he thinks.
He's always, and not that this, well, it does actually matter. He's always polite. He's always courteous. He always gives you. Well, I know, Chris, you're smiling at me, but he's always courteous. He always gives you the time of day, and you know, not every Manchester United manager in the past has done that when under pressure.
No, absolutely. And let's get it right. Is there a more pressurised job in world football than Manchester United? And we've seen pictures of Sir Alex Ferguson here today. Since he's left, it's been a bit of a nightmare because of the expectation. But today was massive for ten Hag. What will be interesting is what actually happens next. We've seen pictures of Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Maybe they're thinking, blimey, all the stories which have come out, shall we do a massive U-turn now?
Well, I mean, your guess is as good as mine on what they might do now.
But it's, I suppose...
They seem to lurch from one kind of reaction to another.
Exactly. This can't be a short-term approach. If they've made the decision and viewed the season as a whole, they will have to stick with it. But you're right about Ten Hag, thoroughly decent bloke. If he is going out, what a way to bow out. He's made his point.
And the Manchester United players stand in front of the winner's arch and the advertising board in front of them bearing the sponsor's name, and they wave the FA Cup in the air and they spray champagne and they dance, and the sort of fireworks and ticker tape go off in the background.
Is that Diallo there, just on the edge of the photo, taking a bit of a selfie with his camera, trying to get everything on video, but he's not even going to be in the celebratory shot because he was out of shot.
I must say, what a difference it makes from when we were here for the Coventry semi-final. They were so sheepish afterwards. I've never seen a team celebrate a winning penalty shootout contest less than Manchester United did to get into this final. And now they can let their hair down.
And with silver streamers all over that part of the Wembley turf, let's just head to Tottenham. Champions Cup final in Rugby Union has gone into extra time. Chris Jones.
And we are 4 minutes away from the end of the game, the second period of the 10 minutes Each way of extra time. Leinster 22, Toulouse 31. It looks like Toulouse have done enough to win this astonishing Champions Cup final. It was 15 all after the 80. Then Toulouse scored 10 unanswered points. Leinster looked out of it. Red card Toulouse. Amazing effort Leinster to take it to 3, but then 2 Ramos penalties has extended the gap to 9. We're 16 minutes into the 20 minutes of extra time. The officials are looking at something else now on the big screen. Leinster 22, Toulouse 31. Toulouse are under 4 minutes away from winning one of the most titanic Champions Cup finals in history.
Back here at Wembley, let's hear from the 2 Manchester United goal scorers, Alejandro Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo, who earlier spoke with Jason Mohammed.
Congratulations, Alejandro and Kobbie, FA Cup winners. How does that sound?
Thank you very much. No, incredible feeling, no one believes in us, but we are a team, we are all together with these fans. It's an incredible moment for us, also for me and Kobbie. We scored the goal, but all together we fight like the last game of our life, so we are very happy.
Kobbie, you are absolutely outstanding today. What does this mean to the football club? What does this mean to you?
Absolutely everything. I mean, it's been a tough season with ups and downs, and recently the only thing we've had to look forward to is this final. It's such a big one to run it back from last year. Last year I was in the stands watching, I couldn't be involved, but yeah, it's an incredible feeling.
Also, these fans, they were incredible today, Alejandro. You were fantastic on the pitch as well, beating the champions of England. But these fans were incredible today.
No, incredible. Just to say thank you all the fans, because when we lose, when we win, they are always there. Away games, home games, Wembley now, so it's just, we did for the fans.
Such a different performance for Manchester United today, Kobbie, to last year's performance and also the performances in the league. Why was today so special for you?
I mean, like I say, because it's been such a tough season, we knew we had to come together. And the staff and the players recently for the preparation for this game has just been amazing. The way we've come together, we've shown that we can compete and we can win games. It's such a big game on such a big stage.
So they're the 2 goal scorers, 2 different teenagers scoring in a cup final for the first time. You both said it over the last hour or so. Mainoo's goal was one of the best cup final goals that you will see.
And taken so calmly as well, because he's got a lot to do. He's coming from the left-hand side of the pitch and he's got to curl it with his right foot into the far corner where the ball's come from. So it was made easy, or easier, by Bruno Fernandes's sort of no-look pass, disguised pass. Brilliant finish, but the pass was great. Crossfield ball from Rashford was outstanding to Garnacho in the first place. Everything about that goal was absolute first class. And for a young boy to finish it like he does it every day in training, he made it look easy, and it's not.
Yeah, I think I've accused Bruno Fernandes in the past of being selfish. He certainly wasn't selfish there. Real team player. Just such a clever pass from him, the way he disguised it, and the weight of it was lovely. I mean, it sort of was one which Mainoo couldn't miss. He just had to stay composed, and we know he has had composure all afternoon. It was a nice finish, but it was all about Fernandes in that moment. I can tell you, a lot of the players I played with their eyes would have lit up FA Cup final and gone for goal themselves. But that was essentially the difference. Because
as we said at half time, how difficult is that from Mainoo's point of view to be anticipating that ball? Because I don't think anybody was expecting it, were they?
Look, when you with respect, when you play at the sort of highest level.
Sorry, you can put me away.
No, I don't want to say. I don't want to say the dog and duck. I don't want to say. Yeah. But Dion will tell you as well. This is top level football, and Fernandes, he has that wonderful awareness in abundance. So Mainoo was expecting it, the way he just adjusted and finished it with ease. They're used to this in training, day in and day out. It is difficult for the likes of you and Ian and John to understand. I get that.
John made the point in commentary as well. Are you still part of this discussion, John?
Yes. I'm half listening.
You made the point in commentary that maybe the last 2 or 3 Premier League games, with how United were set up, was in preparation for today.
Well, I mean, it does look like that now. I'm sure they asked the question. But to play with this formation, which we called, didn't we, Chris? The old Craig Levein, 4-6-0, which he's been. I mean, that's his. That'll be on his gravestone, Craig Levein, the 4-6-0. I mean, that's dogged him throughout. Yet this will be considered by Erik ten Hag to be a tactical triumph over the great Pep.
And Craig Levein ended up getting the sack off the back of that system, but strangely enough, it's worked this time round. But no, it's an absolute masterstroke. The way that, I mean, how many times have we seen Manchester City play this season and opposing teams nullify their midfield? We talked about Onana in the first half did not really have a save of any note to make.
Do you think, just to balance it up from a City point of view, they might feel they could have had a penalty in both halves? Were they both shouts, the kind that we see that if they had been given, they wouldn't have been overturned? Were they what they were?
I thought the one in the second half more than the first half. I don't know what Dion thinks. I don't want to get sort of too wrapped up in saying, I can understand.
I'm just throwing it out for balance.
For balance, I thought in the first half, I thought Martinez was lucky. I thought he was stupid with the challenge. And by the way, you mentioned it. What a difference he's made to this Manchester United team. But the second half, I thought Mainu facing the wrong way, not looking at the ball. That was a problem. That should have been a penalty.
But I think it's possibly where we are right now with VAR, in that, we've seen what UEFA have done, and as Ian said during the commentary, the bar's gone up again, and I, my feeling is the way they do this is now they look at it, and unless you say that is absolutely definitely, so if there's any doubt at all that it shouldn't be a penalty, it's not given.
You can't face the wrong way, though. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't looking at the ball, mainly. I think that's you can't do that, Dion, can you? That's ridiculous.
Erik ten Hag has been talking to BBC TV with Gary and Alan and everybody down there. We'll play some of that in a bit, but you've been taking shorthand notes, Ian, on what he said.
I have. He said compliments to the team. Players were on board. Some were not match fit. Gary Lineker asked him about, can you play like this all year? He said, I've been telling this all year. When the players are fit, we can play good football. And then Gary, rather interestingly, asked him a question about, do you think you've been treated unfairly by the media and by us? To which he replied very briefly, I think so. To which Alan Shearer then got involved, and he said, well, you haven't played very well. There have been times when you've had to be criticised. And to which he responded, we didn't have the players, but definitely we've had some poor games, but we've had to compromise. We've only had about 3 or 4 times where we've had the full squad at our to be available. And then when Gary Lineker asked him, do you think this is the last game? He said, I honestly don't know. I've just been preparing my team, but I want to play the best football I can. I want to play dynamic football. I'm proud of the players and the staff. Football is about winning trophies. And when I came in, it was a mess.
Interesting. I'm sure if you are a United fan and haven't been at Wembley, because the majority of United fans who are at Wembley are still in the stadium, but if you're a United fan listening, there is a lot to talk about with Chris on 606 08 085 909 693. Is the final whistle gone in the Champions Cup final? Chris?
It has. Celebrations for Toulouse, the greatest rugby club side in the world, have done it again. 6 times they've won the Champions Cup. And they've beaten Leinster by 31 points to 22 after extra time. 15-all following the 80. Then Toulouse scored 10 unanswered points to go to 25-15. Leinster came back extraordinarily, but Toulouse had too much. A titanic tussle, a remarkable, astonishing Champions Cup final won by Toulouse, and Leinster's heartbreak in this competition goes on. They've lost their last 4 finals, and the last few in 2022 they lost by 3 points. Last year by 1 point, and today, after a draw after 80, they've been edged out by Toulouse. It is finished at Tottenham. What a Champions Cup final. It's Toulouse yet again, and it's more desolation at this stage for Leinster. Leinster 22, Toulouse 31. Toulouse are the champions.
in a nutshell today then, Toulouse have won Rugby Union's Champions Cup, Manchester United have won the FA Cup, Celtic have won the Scottish Cup, and Charles Leclerc is on pole for tomorrow's Monaco Grand Prix. We mentioned that Eric Ten Hag interview with the BBC TV team, and we'll play that to you after the news with Jill McKenzie.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
The first weekend of general election campaigning has focused on the economy. The Conservatives say they want more cuts to national insurance, while Labour would try to reduce the tax burden on working families. A 17-year-old boy from Lancashire has been arrested on suspicion of murder after a woman was stabbed to death on a Bournemouth beach last night. The 34-year-old was attacked alongside another woman who's in hospital with serious injuries. Officials in Ukraine say at least 2 people have been killed after Russian forces bombed a supermarket in Kharkiv. President Zelensky has again called for air defence systems from Western allies. And a Spitfire's reportedly crashed into a field near RAF Coningsby in Lincolnshire. Police say the crash involved a single occupant aircraft. There's no word yet on whether anyone's been hurt, but the RAF says there will be an update later.
BBC Radio 5 Live.
It's a left-footed penalty. Here he comes.
And she goes into a different gear. And suddenly
the Chinese are mounting a late challenge, but they're not going to make it.
As a 23-time Grand Slam singles champion.
Sends it forward. In it goes.
Get ready for another action-packed summer of sport.
The unseeded Marketa Vondrousova has taken this opening set.
Who crosses the line. The checkered flag awaits him.
Join us right across the summer on BBC Radio 5 Live and 5 Sports Extra.
Unstoppable.
What a twist. And the crowd are loving this.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
The Manchester United players continue to celebrate in the sunshine in front of their fans away to our left here at Wembley. We'll hear from Eric Ten Hag shortly. First to Edgbaston, Nikesh.
Where England have set Pakistan 184 for victory. Pakistan making a good fist of it in those middle overs, but they've lost too many wickets now. They've just lost their 7th. Iftikhar Ahmed gone for a really entertaining 23, dismissed by Reece Topley, who's got a couple of wickets, a couple to Moeen Ali as well. Jofra Archer's got 1 on his return to the England side, and Pakistan still needing 44 to win from 24 balls. Just 1 recognised batter still left, Imad Wasim, who's currently out there on 19 from 9. So it looks as though England are close here to taking a 1-0 series lead. Pakistan chasing 184 for victory, are 140 for 7 with 4 overs remaining. They need 44 from the last 4 overs.
Thank you, Sports Extra. If you want to listen to that, Ian gave us a taste of what Eric Ten Hag has said to Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer on BBC television. Let's hear the whole thing now. Here is the victorious Manchester United manager.
Many congratulations, Eric. Thank you. Thoroughly deserved, excellent performance. You had a plan and your team played it masterly.
Yeah, I think so. All the compliments to the team. They play very good, to our identity, very strong. And you have seen, if we have the players on board, how we can play. Then in our philosophy, they are not even fit. You know, some are not even match fit, but I think the performance was very good.
Does this send a message perhaps for yourself and your team that when your players are all fit and available, that you're much better than perhaps you've shown in some of the parts of this season?
I tell you all year this. Yeah. I tell you this the whole year. When the players are fit, we can play good football, and yeah, very good performance against the best team of the world, I think.
How much more important, how much more satisfying is it that it was against not just probably one of the best teams in the world, but also the fact that it's your local rivals?
Of course, always when your local the rivalry is there, it's much more important when you play against a team from your own city. But also for us, it was not about this. It was more to prove a point after such a first year with so many setbacks, with all the injuries, and every time we had to survive. But so the team showed so much resilience, and I'm very proud of them.
No, so you should be. Do you feel like you've been unfairly treated by the media, by the likes of ourselves?
I think so. The team, me as well, was not right.
Okay.
The only thing I would say to that, though, you had a team out there today who've shown a great attitude, who've shown great ability, who've won every single tackle. That hasn't always been the case this season, though, has it? So you can understand why we do criticise sometimes. If you had had that every single week, then you wouldn't have finished in 8th. Today was unbelievable.
No, but we didn't have the players. And you are right, we have seen the same things. There was not always good football, definitely not. But we had to make all the time compromises. And yeah, then you can't play the football you want to play. I'm now 2 years here, and probably maybe we had 3-4 times we had the full squad on board. Also today, some massive players like Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Casemiro not on board.
Yeah, I can sense your frustration, and your frustration might be that this could conceivably be your last game. Do you know? Do you?
I don't know.
You don't.
But it's. Only thing what I am doing is preparing my team, develop my team, progress my team, and the individual players, because this is for me a project. And when I came in, I can say it was a mess. Yeah. And we are now better. Underneath, I always said we are better, but we are by far not where we want to be.
Yeah. You won a trophy last season, you've won a trophy this season, you're now in European football again, so whatever happens to you, you can hang your head out pride, can't you?
Football is about winning trophies, and in the end of the day, I want to play the best football. I want to play dynamic football, attacking football, but in the end, you have to win games and you have to win trophies. And now, yeah, that is the mentality we brought in. We had only one opportunity. That was the FA Cup, and we did it. So what I say, I'm so very proud of the players and staff, because they did an incredible job.
Eric, we've just witnessed a great midfield performance from a youngster in Kobbie Mainoo, going up against some of the world's best in Rodri and De Bruyne and Phil Foden. He was magnificent today, wasn't he?
He was. It was really so enjoyable to watch Kobbie on his age. But it's also an example. We wanted to bring him, and then in the second game in pre-season he got a bad injury and took him long to get back. But in the moment we brought him, the team...
How high can he go?
I think we have to keep it calm. Because you are very good here in England to push players and manage very high, and then you hammer them when they are 1 or 2 bad performances.
Eric,
I think you should be more calm.
Okay.
Eric, thanks very much for your time. Many congratulations, and we hope to see you next season. We hope to see you next season. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Well done.
So that interview with Eric Ten Hag was maybe 10-15 minutes ago, and now in the sunshine, which I think is really interesting, his backroom staff were all having a photo with the FA Cup, but they waited for Ten Hag to finish other media duties. He was talking to Mark Pugac and Roy Keane on ITV, and they waited, did the backroom staff, before they had that photo. And virtually all the players have now gone back in, and the United player who stayed out there was his captain, Bruno Fernandes, and he applauded Ten Hag and the backroom staff as they stood in the sunshine in front of the United fans. And then the backroom staff moved away, and Ten Hag took the FA Cup on his own, to the adulation of the United fans who are still standing in the sunshine over there. And now Bruno Fernandes has joined his manager in holding the FA Cup, and they've had photos with the fans and turned to the fans, and now they've turned the other way so that the fans are behind them for the photographers to get that shot. Just some really interesting, well, not interesting behaviour, but I suppose it shows the feeling of the backroom staff towards him towards his backroom staff, and the relationship, Dion, between manager and captain.
Yeah, which is good. I just think the staff have just stood there, haven't they, watching him do his interviews along the line. Pete's now, Bruno's walking off with the trophy, manager by his side. I don't know what's gone on this season, but I haven't seen this United. I think if I had seen this United all season, chappers, they would have had a very, very different season.
I wonder how much, and Chris, I know there's lots of things that go into a team performance, but they had Varane and Martinez as their centre halves today, and we talk about the importance of central defensive partnership. they were the platform with Wan-Bissaka and Dalla.
Yeah, in all honesty, I have felt for a while that Varane's days are numbered, but bearing in mind he was playing Casemiro at centre-back, he was an upgrade. Varane was certainly. I think Martinez has been an enormous loss for them. And when Erik ten Hag spoke to Gary Lineker and you know we heard that interview play out, I do think that he has a certain point in the fact that they have had horrific injuries to players. A lot of players out. We spoke about the 15 different partnerships at centre back, and that's going to affect any team or any club. But you can't get away from the fact that aside from today, the performances haven't been there this season. They've been too few and far between. And over the course of the season, essentially, if he does lose his job, that will be because there is a bigger picture in play here.
I think. Yes, you have to take that into account, but I think it's so damning whenever you watch Manchester United, and I know the facts and the statistics suggest that what they face more on average attempts on their goal than everybody in the Premier League apart from Sheffield United. And that's up to the manager, isn't it, to find a way. They were too easy to get at, and even when you are depleted and don't have players available, you have to find a way, don't you? And I think that's why there is the accusation that Erik ten Hag was not able to adapt.
And it was from the first game of the season. Remember the Wolves game where Manchester United ended up stumbling over the line. You look at things like the Champions League, gentle group in the Champions League, ended up finishing bottom. There are so many performances which I can think of off the top of my head. Crystal Palace in recent times, where they have been a shadow of the team we've seen today. It's a strange one to end the season in this manner with that performance. But over the course of the season, has he really done enough where you can see a really positive future under Erik ten Hag next season? I'm not so sure he has.
Do you think it papers over the cracks? Because the reason
I do, and I think John's point about identity and controlling games, I think that's massive. You don't expect them to control a game against Manchester City. That's an unrealistic expectation. But against the so-called, with respect, the weaker teams in the Premier League.
The reason I say that, is that because when he was at Ajax, they were a possession-based team. He said earlier this season, this team will never play like Ajax. They're essentially a counter-attacking team. And you can't help but get away from the recent comments from Wayne Rooney, where Wayne Rooney basically said the players are only coming back for the cup final. He was alluding to the fact that they've deliberately stayed out and they're coming back for the cup final. Are the team behind their manager?
Let's get it right. It doesn't seem that way. There's been issues. That's where I do have sympathy for him. There's been issues from day one since he took over. He had the Ronaldo situation last season. This season, how long have we got on air really with players undermining Erik ten Hag? And that couldn't have helped. And Marcus Rashford sort of epitomises everything, because today he was bang at it. He performed so well on the ball, out of possession, and Gareth Southgate's probably scratching his head at this moment in time, thinking, well, why on earth didn't I pick him?
Well, you've got another 2 hours on air to discuss all of that.
But what we've said here is, you've both said it about if they performed like this every week, where's this Manchester United team been? That's what we say every time we see a cup upset. We say that about the team that provides the cup upset, and really what Manchester United want is not a cup team, they want a team that can win the league.